everyone. We are back.
Welcome to episode 2 of the Bystanders. We're so glad to have all of you back, and thank you so much to Pumpkinberry for raiding in. You're a wonderful little berry, and we appreciate it. If you weren't here for last time, it's no big deal. There wasn't much that happened, right, everybody? Not a big deal.
No,
nothing happened.
at
It was
all.
fine.
Not at all.
No, nothing.
No.
Nothing.
Everything's fine.
Everything's totally fine. Nothing
Everything's
happened.
fine.
But I'd love for everyone to reintroduce themselves. We had our little video, which is amazing. Thank you so much for running the correct one, Jay. And let's give a quick rundown on who we're playing, our names, what our characters' names are, and then we're actually going to level up because we got 3 experience points for accomplishing our goals of not dying last session. So we're leveling up our characters to level 2, which is really exciting.
We don't have a bar.
Well, no bar, but you can make another one. So basically Cletus's level up was just like
Losing his bar.
I'm just so sad now. My whole life has changed.
+1 to depression.
There's not a depression focus in this game. I'm so sorry.
That's unrealistic. Uskar is heavily depressed.
What did you say last night or this morning, Jay? Like I could just build it out of a tree root or something?
Yes. Well, let's go ahead, and since you basically just volunteered, Cletus, tell everybody about yourself, about your character. I'm sorry that you're not a bartender anymore.
I'm Cletus. My character is actually Cletus Buford. He was a bartender for 20 years on the ship that is currently no longer. And to be honest with you, I think the first couple of hours into this, he's definitely going to be traumatized. That is definitely a good word. We're going to definitely be following everyone around with a little bit of shock and a little bit of disbelief. That's
Honestly,
good.
if all of you weren't a little bit in shock, I would be disappointed.
Yeah.
It's what you do with that.
And he also lost his best friend too, so his only friend at the time. So
you still have some new friends, though. One of your newest friends, Sagittari. Tell us about yourself and about your character.
Hi, I'm Saji. I'm playing a character named Yelpy Wilts, and she is this ship's newest member. And as soon as she got there, all hell broke loose. So she's still trying to figure out who these people are, and now she doesn't really have a way off the planet, so she's trying to figure that all out.
I think everyone is a little bit trying to figure out a way off the planet, and the person probably most likely to know how to survive. We've got Jay. Tell us about yourself and about your character.
Hello. I'm playing Uskar of the Weekif. He's a big, large man that pushes big, large objects. He could probably lift them. I've been considering carrying the ship with us to our nearest destination, all on my own. But I'm really excited for this session because Uskar is in a really interesting spot where he's just kind of looking at the rest of the party here as the only person he's known for the last little while is gone, and he still kind of feels like it's his fault because of the elevator, and then he couldn't save her.
Maybe you did send a bomb down the elevator.
And yes, it was Uskar's clone. He was made of bombs. He's also from a heavily matriarchal society, so you might see it come out a little bit here and there. He's trying to escape it.
Awesome. Well, we have 2 pretty badass ladies to introduce. Let's go with Amara. Tadriel, I gave you a bit of a hard time last time, so I'm super excited for the Amara Day redemption arc. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I am super excited about it as well. Hopefully it comes very soon because Amara is very sad right now. I am Todd. I'm Tadriel. You can call me Todd. I'm playing Amara. She is a pilot-ish. Not a very good one. She blames herself for the death of the captain from last episode and just kind of wants to fix that and find her own ship, hopefully, and get off of this planet.
Well, I believe in you. And when it comes to finding and maybe modifying any kind of ships or vehicles, our last crew member, certainly not least, would be the most helpful with that. Starbuck, give us an introduction for yourself and your character.
Hello, I am Starbuck. You can call me Starbuck or Starbuck. Either works.
Call me Starbuck.
call me Starbuck. I am playing the character Cubit, who has a better relationship with machines than she does with people. So she's trying to navigate this wonderful situation that we're in, as well as try to help out and fix things along the way if she can. And just trying to help the team out.
Awesome. Well, I do believe that you will all do wonderful, wonderful things together. I'm Blue Jay. I'm the GM, which means I play literally everyone else. So we'll see how that goes. But like I said at the very intro, we do have some level ups to do. I'm super, super excited because this is the first game or series that I've ever run where there has been any leveling up. So it's my first time too. Well, as GM, I've leveled up as characters plenty of times, but let's go ahead and go around what happens in Stars Without Number for leveling up. Is you get around 3 XP per session if you accomplish your goals or at least pursue them. There are different ways of getting XP, like you can give out XP in terms of like how much loot you get. But for me, it's very much a goal-based system. We had each of the characters kind of figure out what their most immediate goal was going into the session so that I can determine if they've worked on that or not. But last session, it was pretty much just play, have a character that has goals and has a life to them, and you level up, which they all did. So with those 3 XP, you get some skill points, which you can use to advance your skills or attributes in Stars Without Number. Skills being things like pilot, administer, work, etc. Attributes being the usual strength, dexterity, charisma that you're used to with games like Dungeons and Dragons. So each of the characters the players was able to choose what they wanted to advance, and then they get one new foci or focus, which is sort of like taking a feat in D&D, if you're familiar with that. So we're going to be doing that, and then also rolling for new hit points, because if you might not know, but Stars Without Number, you are actually able to start the game with only 1 HP, which one of our characters did have last session, which is pretty dangerous. But now we're leveling up.
She fell over and hit the coffee maker and broke her arm.
And then she was just totally out for the whole session.
A bed of feathers fell on her and she started real bad.
But now we have a chance to get a few more hit points. So let's go ahead and go around. Let's start with Starbuck. You have a chance to get some more XP. So really quick, if you can say what skills or attributes that you put your points in, and then what new focus you got, and I'll give a rundown of what that means to chat, and then we'll roll for your new hit die.
Awesome. Sounds good. So you mentioned because we're experts, we got 1 extra skill point to spend.
Yep.
So I leveled up sneak first to a value of 1, and then I put my remaining 1 into survive, since I had that at a -1. So that's not
those are very good things to have. Sneak is fairly easy to understand. It's sneaking around. It's getting from point A to point B without being seen. Survive is very, very similar to the survive skill in Dungeons and Dragons, where you're able to travel over outside worlds, find food and find water, maybe track someone, that sort of stuff. And then what was the focus you got?
The focus I chose was Die Hard,
which is not the Christmas movie. Instead, Die Hard.
That's my joke. No,
yes, I stole it. I stole it from you because no one else thought of that. Not a single person.
That's what content creators do. Steal jokes.
I'm definitely glad though that you said it was a Christmas movie.
Oh, it 100% is. No, but the Die Hard in the focus is not the movie. She's not Bruce Willis now. But she is surprisingly hard to kill and can survive injuries or bear up under stresses that would incapacitate a less determined hero. So last session, Cubit was put under a strain that might be a little bit more than she's used to. And as consequence of that, has kind of bucked up and decided she's not going down without a fight. So you get extra hit points per level, which will help you in this roll. So the way we roll for hit die in Stars Without Number is D6. So for the second level, you will roll 2D6, and then you add, or in some cases subtract, your Constitution modifier. And then you, because you are a diehard, will then add +4 because it's level 2.
Okay.
So it's 2d6. Let's check your
I don't
Constitution
think I
is
have a
+0.
modifier for that. Yeah.
So you don't add anything, and then you'll add +4 for the diehard.
So it'd be /roll 2d6 + 4.
Yes,
Okay.
and this will be your new hit points. 11. Holy crap!
Oh man.
That's so much more than 1.
You just go from 1 to 11.
Yes. So
No.
that was with 1 level up.
Wow.
Do we do that with the
Oh,
diehard?
moly.
The diehard is that +4. That's what that
Okay.
was.
Okay,
Yeah,
so just-
because you get 2 extra hit points per level. And so at second level, it's +4.
Amazing.
I'm
Yes.
never dying.
Yes, exactly.
It is.
So make sure that you put it as your maximum perfect. You've got it edited on the sheet. And that is a pretty simple basic level up. Now, in terms of taking those very special foci or feats, that's done at level 1. When you create a character, you get focuses. At level 2, you get 1 more. And then you don't get another one till level 5. So yes, it really does make a big difference from level 1 to level 2. But it pretty much like maintains as you move on. So next, I believe we have another person who's going to be a diehard. So let's go ahead and move over to Jay.
Ooh.
Can you tell us what skills or attributes you leveled and what your focus was?
Okay. So I leveled my exert up to second level, which took all 3 skill points.
Yep.
And I took the diehard feat.
Nice.
Focus, rather.
So exert and Stars Without Number is basically you can apply speed, strength, or stamina in a feat of physical exertion. So run, jump, lift, climb. Those are all exert, which is very useful. And then Die Hard, as we've already explained, will give us some more hit points. So now Jay already has more hit points because he's playing a warrior. So you are going to roll 2d6 plus 2
Okay.
plus your Constitution modifier, which is 0, so nothing
1.
there.
It's 1.
I've got Cubit's sheet up. That's why. So
slash roll. Sorry, 2d6 plus.
plus 2 for warrior,
Okay.
plus 1 for your Constitution.
Yep.
And then plus 4 for diehard.
Alrighty.
So right now you have 6 HP.
13.
Now you've got
13.
Nice.
Does that replace or add on? Sorry.
That replaces.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
So in Stars Without Number, you roll your hit points again,
Huh.
but if you get less than or equal to your current hit points, you just add 1. So you're
Gotcha.
always guaranteed to get at least 1 extra hit point, but you can, as we can see, do drastically more.
Yeah,
But you cannot get less. So that's pretty useful.
that's cool.
Our second warrior, let's move on. Cletus, you're actually also a partial warrior, but you get the same hit point bonus. So what were the
He's about as much as a warrior as Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
wow, called out.
Wow, dude.
I'm gonna take that as you saying that you're totally a warrior and a badass one to boot. So you what did you put your level up points into? I think
I want to bring this up really quick since we're doing this live. I didn't know whether it was to put the points in skills or to put them in the stats.
So you can choose to do either one or the other or both. So if you wanted to add 1 point to your charisma, that would cost you, you have 3 skill points to level up with. Adding 1 point to your charisma would cost you 1 point of skill points. Adding 2 points to your charisma would cost you 3 altogether. If you also wanted to do like level up your charisma by 1 would cost you 1 of your 3 skill points. If you wanted to use the other 2 to level up a skill from 0 to 1, that would be also using.
So I did 2 points of charisma. That's right.
So that's
right?
perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
That brings you up to 16, which is really high and really good. So we're going to have you, what focus did you decide to take?
So I took a 2nd point in healing.
So that brings you up to a level 2 as a healer, which is really valuable because when you are a level 2 healer, you can heal twice as many hit points as normal when you're using stims or technology. And
That's
when you're
good, because they're all getting more health, so that's going to be needed.
Exactly. So as your healing skill levels up, their need to be healed is leveling up as well. So it also means if you're just using basic medical supplies like gauze and such, you can heal 1d6 plus your heal skill and hit points. So it just makes you better at healing.
Okay.
And we're also going to roll for your hit points. So you are a partial warrior, which means you're going to be rolling 2d6 plus 2, and you don't have die hard or anything of the sort, if I remember correctly. No. So it's just 2d6 plus 2 plus your constitution, which is 0. So slash
just 2d6 plus 2?
Yep. And we get 9,
Nice.
which does give you a couple extra hit points. Awesome.
All of a sudden, I'm the weak one.
All of a
Jeez.
sudden, I know.
I take my bar and I get weak.
I mean, it makes sense actually when you say it that way.
I was stronger in the bar.
Yeah, a little bit of
Yeah.
dehydration.
We just need to carry around the bar with you. We need a portable bar.
On my back.
Yeah. So I believe we have another healer in the group. Now, I don't think that she's taking the heal level 2, but Saji, can you tell us what you decided to do in terms of your skill points for leveling up here?
Yeah, so I was supposed to say up leveled. That's the wrong word. I leveled up.
I up leveled.
I up leveled. I leveled up my sneak and notice.
Nice.
And
Again,
then,
very useful.
Yeah, she's kind of like heightened senses now. That really threw her for a loop. She's ready to kind of be a little more careful. And then I also took unarmed combatant.
Nice. So your close brush with death made you just want to punch stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's also a useful thing to do, I think. So unarmed combatant means that your hands are more dangerous than knives and guns in the grip of the less gifted. Your unarmed attack count as melee weapons now. So basically, if you don't have a gun or a knife or, I don't know, a sword, Todd, then you still have your fists and you can grab anything around you and it becomes a weapon, which is pretty handy. So let's go ahead and roll your HP and see how much damage you can take along with the damage you're dealing.
All jokes aside, though, I literally am a punching character.
Yeah.
I don't have any weapon skills, so I only punch.
Or like
I
a
feel like
wandering group of monks.
With a
I feel like
mug in my
most of
hand.
you, haven't taken stab or shoot. So we'll see how that goes.
We'll see.
Just so you know, you can still shoot or stab even if you don't have the skill. It's just at a -1. But Gelpy is an expert, so that means that you have, I believe, if you only, what did you say you leveled skill wise?
Notice and sneak.
Notice up to 1 and sneak up to 1. Okay, that should be fine. And then you're going to roll your HP. So for you, because you're an expert and not a warrior, you're just rolling 1d6 plus your 2d6 plus your constitution. So I believe your constitution is +0. So you're just going for it.
K2d6, please.
Gelpy had 4 hit points and now she has 5 hit points.
That's still better than losing, you know.
That's still better, yeah.
Oof.
I mean, it's one better, and that's the thing. It's like that's a fairly average roll. I think 6 would have been almost exactly average. So Starbuck just lucked the heck out. But last but certainly not least, we also have our wonderful pilot. What did you invest your skill points in on level up, and what focus did you get?
Yeah, so I tried to learn from last time, and I invested my skill points in pilot and program.
Nice.
So I leveled those both up once.
Mhm.
And then I grabbed the Starfarer Foci, which enabled me to level up pilot one more time. So ready.
Starfarer means that now our space bus driver is also an expert in the plotting and execution of interstellar spike drills, which in Stars Without Number is how you get from one system to the next. So if you manage to get a ship, you'll now be more capable of taking it out of the system and out of trouble. But you still have to survive until then. So let's go ahead and roll your hit points. It's going to be 2d6 plus your constitution, which Amara, it's plus 1.
Yeah.
So yeah, 2d6 plus 1. And an 8. So again, you just got 1 extra hit point.
It looks like Die Hard was really the way to go there.
Yeah.
I feel like taking Die Hard early is fairly useful in
I
terms
wish I'd
of
known that.
survivability, but also having more skills will sometimes get you out of a pinch, or being charismatic, being able to persuade somebody not to shoot at you
And
is
2 points of
honestly-
healing too.
is honestly going to keep you alive longer than surviving being shot at. So now that we've all leveled up and we've all got our characters ready to go into the fray, let's get into it. We start this episode with a little bit of a quiet morning. We see the tall skyscrapers of the not yet ruined Sean City behind us. We see the tall length of the elevator with the ship attached and in docking in low planet or orbit. I almost said low Earth orbit, but it's not Earth. And we look into the room of one of the apartments in one of the high rises, and we see a young boy sitting on the edge of a table, his knee scraped, and his mother applying a dermoplast to heal it. And as we look at both of them, the boy kind of slightly crying, his eyes watery, and the mother soothing, we see a flash of light outside the window. And then we see a rising tide of debris as the elevator starts to fall in the background. We flash over to a woman in the street on what looks like some kind of hover bicycle with several pads of old-fashioned newspaper in a basket, throwing them to some more expensive-looking houses. They're still built fairly tall and thin, like most of the buildings in Sean City, but these ones have like cobbled streets, which her bicycle wheels don't touch. And she's throwing one of the old-fashioned newspapers onto the porch of one of the houses. And as she does, we feel the cobbled streets shake, and we see bricks of the street come flying up toward her, and her face looking shocked, and in her eyes reflected that same wave of destruction. And now we flash to a ship falling from the sky as people are running out of the city and trying to get away from this sudden destruction. There was no warning, there was no sirens, there was no anything. And we see now the ship crashing into the ground, some fires that are being put out over time, and the city in the background smoking, all of its high-rise buildings either taken down or damaged, and fires still going. And then we zoom in on our crew inside of this ship, still perhaps a little shocked from the swift fall, but maybe deciding where they're going to go from here.
Me is thinking we walk.
Yeah, it sounds like we better get to that other town.
Yes.
Is there anything we need to bring with us?
Should bring supplies. And
Do we have anything left? Where is everything?
So you have anything that was in your personal effects, but the ship itself doesn't have any extra cargo.
Yeah, it's all scattered.
Mm-hmm. So anything that you own, you still have.
Are we assuming everything that was in the cargo bay is destroyed or gone?
Everything had been unloaded and you guys hadn't reloaded anything, but stuff like the forklift that the captain had asked you to repair, that's still there and could be still repaired and gotten to work. Maybe if you wanted to use it to carry some items, that's definitely a thing you could do.
I think I'll pipe up to the group and mention, you know, I never finished that job Cap asked me to do. We can see if that forklift will help out at all.
It might help.
Good
I
drive.
can see it helping.
Yes, we could drive it. All of us climb on top. I stand. We drive the entire way. Yes.
I mean, it's probably faster than walking. So
Yes.
That's true. Yeah.
I've
But
never
they're very
ridden a
slow.
forklift
Okay,
before.
Whiskrod could walk faster than the forklift go.
Uskar could carry
Oh.
the forklift on his back.
Yes,
now.
okay, I could try.
And then we could ride on the forklift.
Yes, I could try.
But maybe Cubit can do something to make it go faster. Maybe give it a boost somehow.
I could definitely try.
That's absolutely something you could do for sure. And you see Savara, who's been quiet up to this point, coming down the ladder from the upstairs area where the passenger lodging is. And she has her bag full of her belongings, but she also has folded in her arms multiple blankets. And also it looks like maybe some of the captain's undershirts, which she has started to collect. Some of them are already torn to serve as bandages. And she's looking around at the lot of you and being like, so, I know that we talked about maybe going to, and she casts a sideways glance at Gaius, maybe going to the Jorhild base, but I really can't find it in me to leave with a city destroyed behind us without trying to help at all. We have some skills for healing, and it looked horrible. We have to try. And you see Gaius look at her and be like, who cares about all of them? I'm saving my own skin, thank you. And it seems that there's a conflict of interest with our two.
I don't have a problem with what you're saying. I honestly think that we really don't have anywhere to go right now, to be honest. And the only option we really have is either help fix up this city or we just start walking, right?
What are you talking about? I thought, Gelpy, didn't you say you knew someone you called someone who is in another city, didn't you?
Yeah, the city about an hour away.
I named the city, by the way.
Okay, I was like, what is it?
Last time I didn't. It's Tyver.
Okay, Tyver. My buddy Racket down in Tyver, I think he might be able to help us out get access to a Jorhild ship.
Is there time constraints on that?
Can they heal?
We talked last time that the city behind you is about an hour's walk away, and the city with the Jorhild troops in it was about a 24-hour walk away. So
Swap the two. Said the wrong one.
Yeah, so the city behind you that is damaged and burning is about an hour's walk. The city Tyver that Racket is in, that the Jorhild's troops were seen in, is about a 24-hour walk in to the east. And Gaius is expressing, screw those people, let's just go save our own skins. Whereas Savara doesn't think that she can leave them to die, basically.
So like I said at the beginning before we started, was one of the main feelings that Cletus is dealing with right now is the utter disbelief that he lost everything.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that Uskar is his only true remaining person that he knew well,
Mm-hmm.
from the group. He knows the other three now, but he knows Uskar a lot better than the others. He's going to lean on Uskar for a lot of not only comfort, but just the simplicity of knowing him and hoping that he can do it for us. So in this situation, Uskar, you think we should go back to the city and help?
I'm thinking that the lady's idea is good and noble, and we should listen. We could do both, though. Maybe
I agree.
we climb on
both.
the forklift and we go to Tyler, the city, and then get medical.
I just
And bring
don't
back
think we
here.
have the time. The city was blowing up. If we want to get off this planet, I don't think we have the time to do that. They're evacuating the Jorhild stations. I think we need to choose one or the other.
We got steal ship, and then take it, and then bring people, and then get them, and take them off the planet, and save them, and do both. Would we take the forklift?
But doesn't that mean we have to fight?
No.
They said there was troops over there and soldiers.
Yes, but we disguise. Yes.
And Cletus, you're real good at talking to people.
Yeah,
Yes, so
I
am I.
am pretty good at talking.
You're probably the least threatening or unassuming person out of all of us. If you can convince them to let us through, I'm sure you can.
While this discussion is going on, Gaius kind of lets out an angry huff and goes back down the hallway toward the cargo bay, and shortly thereafter returns with a metal box that's only slightly dented on one side, and he opens it up and starts messing around with a laser pistol. And there's at least 2 more in the box.
Amara makes her way over to the laser pistols. What you got there, Gaius?
What do you think it is? It's the ship's armory.
Is there
I
more
didn't
of
think
this?
that we would get a ship without a fight. I mean, everyone has. And he looks over at the rest of you like, didn't you have a sword when you came on board? Of course we have guns.
I have a gun. I have a big gun.
I'm not suggesting that we could merely take a ship from this military base without a fight, but I still think that this is the best plan. An entire elevator landed on that city. You think anyone survived? You're mad. We have to save ourselves. The longer we take,
weapons.
the longer we take getting off this fucking planet, the more likely it is they'll launch another whatever sort of missile. And then we'll be
Yes.
dead.
See, this is why we need a leader.
We do need a leader.
What do
You're
we do?
right.
Well, we handle it like adults. With rock, paper, scissors.
Rock, paper, scissors.
I agree with that.
So
I am
so
looking
you
for rock.
so are you volunteering
Before
then?
before you say that, I do want you guys to know that I'm really good at talking to people. So, I mean, I might be good to help us in a pinch. You know, I'm not saying like
Yes.
I want to
You're a leader.
Yeah, but I
You
don't
need to
want to
know
tell you
Captain.
what to do. I'm not that kind of person. I don't want to tell y'all what you can and can't do. But
Okay.
when it comes to people outside of our group, I think I could definitely take control of situations.
Okay, this is true, but Uskar, I think one of the women should lead. Women make good, strong leaders. They're born strong. They can handle anything.
You see Savara, like she has her head bowed down a little bit, but there's a small like smile when you say that.
I think Cubit would kind of step back and just kind of mumble. I fix machines. I don't fix people, and kind of just walks away.
Okay.
Well, if none of you are deciding, then I'm the leader. And we're leaving Shan City and we're going directly for Taiva, getting a ship, and getting the fuck off this planet. If you've got a problem with that, and he looks directly at Savara, then you can leave on your own.
Savara, I'd like to get off this planet real bad, but I couldn't feel right without giving you a little bit of extra to help. And I'm going to give her 2 of my Lazarus patches.
Okay.
And 1 of my lifts.
So...
And I'm just going to ruffle through my bag and kind of pull out a few things hurriedly.
So you're really all okay with this? Just leaving all those people?
We have left people before. Whiskror left his whole world to say bye-bye to it. But they were not being blown up like this. But they will survive. People are strong.
If we don't get off this planet, we're all gonna die as well.
She looks like disappointed at you, but then just starts like rummaging in her bag and like packing things in, and she gratefully takes the Lazarus patches and the lift from you, Gelpy, and is just kind of quiet. Whereas Gaius, feeling I guess that he's won, hands out a laser pistol and power cells to everyone who has one in their equipment list. And it's just like, you, Cubit, I know you haven't been around for long. You said you could get this forklift going a little faster.
I can definitely try, yes.
Well then. And he like motions his head towards the cargo bay.
I'm on it. And I think at this moment, before going over to the cargo bay, I'll walk over to Savara and say, I think there's no right or wrong answer here. I know that we have to work together, but right now we have to make sure that we're okay before we can help others. And say that I'm sorry, and then kind of just go on into the cargo bay.
Before you walk away, she says, you saw as well as I did what happened to the city. I haven't known you for long, but you seem like you are a person that likes to help. I didn't think... And then she kind of like, you do what you have to. I understand. And looks away from you, like, I can't, like, doesn't look you in the eye.
As Cubit walks away, Cletus pulls out the last remaining bottle of liquor. His name.
Mm-hmm.
Takes a huge swig of it and passes it around the group. And anyone who wants to partake may partake.
Uskar's going to follow Cubit, just in case. I think the last I saw it, the cargo bay probably wasn't too put together.
No,
right?
Things have rolled everywhere. So let's go into the cargo bay. The forklift is maybe looking a little worse for wear, but the thing's pretty damn heavy, and so it didn't roll around too much. It before, I believe, was just having issues with the lift mechanism. But obviously that's not necessarily something you're super concerned with right now. So you can absolutely try and basically modify it to be able to move faster. Let me just take a quick gander at those types of rules, if I can remember where they are.
Really hope
This
they have
like a
modified forklift in there.
Is this like a combat thing, like, or is this like she knows how the parts work, or?
She actually,
I'd be modding it, right?
yeah, you actually go in there with like a tool. She's like a mechanic, as it were. But vehicles.
If we're looking at the modding, that's on 94.
Thank you. I actually like looked at it and took notes and stuff, but I believe, right, your maintenance score is your int plus con plus 3 times fix. But I don't know what the different goals for different things would be. So you have the tools. The ship has a workshop, as it were, and mods have a minimum fixed skill required to install or maintain them. So I guess this is sort of like customized.
Yeah, because I only have fix 1 right now. I don't think I've leveled that up more.
No, that's totally fine. Just making sure that if you have an assistant with at least a fixed 0 skill, they can have the amount of time that it would take. I could also, I think that this is probably customized, so it's just like you're adjusting or boosted. No, that's damage output. So I would just say that it's just gonna take a roll of fix and intelligence probably to determine whether you're able to get this to go a little bit faster, to be able to use it to have the time in between here and Tyver.
Okay.
I don't know if there's a specific mod that is like what it would be, basically, in order to.
I was thinking maybe high efficiency, since that was still within my fix range, but still.
Oh right,
like,
that would make it run better in terms of battery.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe just as a tool to kind of help us carry things, or use as a transport device.
Efficiency is really good because it's 24 hours. So
you have to.
Great idea.
So okay. You can definitely do that. That's something that you're capable of doing. You have to basically have like a few units of salvage, which, because your ship is totally destroyed, you definitely have.
Okay.
Okay.
So you said fix I would need to do with int?
Yes, fix and intelligence.
Okay.
Just in order to like install this high efficiency modification in an amount of time that's not an actual whole day. So the higher you get with this roll, the less time it's going to take you to basically fix, get this high efficiency system working on the forklift so that it can work as some kind of faster than walking travel until you can stumble upon some kind of actual vehicle.
Okay. And so just I say int in the ask.
Yes, intelligence.
Cool.
So you got a 6. When you're fiddling with the forklift, you're able to like get in there and figure out what was causing the initial problem with the lift mechanism. But with a 6, it's probably still going to take you, and you could definitely report back while you're looking at this, that it's probably still going to take you at least 4 hours to get this thing to move significantly faster without making it use way more battery power than you have. Again, if there's anyone that has the fixed skill at 0 or above, they could assist you and make that time cut in half, basically.
Yes, hello.
Okay. So I think I'll make a general assessment of, just tinkering around, looking at it. I'll turn to Uskar and say, I think I'm going to need some help with this. I'm going to go grab.
Okay, no. Okay, you stay. Uskar will go get them. Who? Just anybody? What do they need to do?
I think Amara might be able to help here.
Okay.
She was pretty useful when we were on the ship. Let's see if she can help out.
Okay, yes, I will be right back.
I'm gonna start.
I'll be right here.
Okay, yes, you stay there.
Mythalian in chat is also making the point that because you are an expert, you do have one reroll that you can use. You can reroll a failed skill check, taking the new one if it's better. Once per scene. So if that's something you want to do, like, you can absolutely also do that.
I think that would be a good idea, but because we're so early in the scene,
this is
Uh-oh.
Oh no. Cletus, are you there?
Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
Can you repeat what you said, Cletus?
Something happening?
you lagged out for a second. We just didn't catch
You
what
just
you
froze
said.
for a second. It's fine.
Sorry. No, I was saying this is pretty important. Like, as much as you would like to think about the rest of the scene, like this getting us a forklift to travel is enormous.
Imperative.
Yeah.
And then putting laser rockets on it is even more important. So
It's once per scene, not once per session.
Oh, okay.
So like once you
I
leave,
misinterpreted that.
yeah,
Okay.
once you leave the ship and are like, basically you'll just get to the next city, like then it will be a new scene. So then you would have this reroll again. So it's not
Okay.
quite as imperative as you can absolutely do that here.
Okay, I think I'll kind of yell over my shoulder. Usprar, I'm gonna try something.
Okay, you do not just stay there.
I'm still yelling,
Okay.
Amara! Kubit needs you in the cargo bay today.
Okay, I think I'm gonna re-roll the
Yes,
same.
absolutely.
Okay. Let me click on this again and make sure that's good. Okay.
Okay, so you got a 9,
I
which
rolled.
is like one level better, basically. So with a 9, I would say, let me just check the significant challenge to a competent professional. You definitely, like, you can yourself fix it within 2 hours, but you know that if you have help, it would be 1. And it would require like less of your, like less battery to run and etc.
And I walk up and say, "Hey, Cubit, what can I help you with?"
I was wondering if you could take a look at this with me. The situation with the ship was, was a little nerve-wracking. I think I'm just needing a little assistance right now.
Yeah, no problem.
Cubit, why would you know to call Amara as opposed to anyone else on the ship? Have you two like fixed something together before?
Previously, we had I think we met at maybe a spaceport on a similar job and have done some previous space flights together on a ship.
So Amara, did you talk about that you had occasionally fixed things, or did you actually fix something with Cubit, or?
Yeah, so a part of what I mentioned about my background was I have kind of tinkered with the AI and some of the buses, the shuttles that I've flown in.
Mm-hmm.
And Cubit has assisted me in those tinkering and hacking expeditions.
Awesome. Nice. So Cubit, Amara, you already know that she might be useful. And Uskar yells for her down the hallway.
Yes, we did a good job.
Thank you, Uskar. Thank you.
Yes.
So we know now that it'll be about an hour of tinkering underneath this forklift before we can see any market improvement in speed. What are the rest of you doing while we wait for this?
I'm still sipping on the last of my whiskey remaining. And I offered it to a few people, but everyone kind of scattered. So I believe
Gaius definitely is drinking with you.
Okay.
But he has also opened the not the cargo bay door, but the actual like passenger sized entry door of the ship. He's opened it to the outside. It's slanted a little bit on the side of the ship. It landed a little slantwise, so it's a little bit above the ground. It's probably just a hop down to the surface, but you might need to clamber to get back into the ship. And he's drinking in one hand out of a broken glass, and with the other hand he's holding a laser pistol and randomly shooting rocks and probably like trees. Since we haven't actually looked outside of the ship yet, what we currently see is a fair distance away. You can see the smoke and kind of broken skyscrapers of Shan City in the background. There's a very, very long ditch where the ship slid to a landing and slid to a stop on the surface behind you. It's smoking a little bit also from probably the front and bottom, but definitely no actual fire. Whatever fire suppression system there was in the engine room, it has worked and no one's gone down to check. So the surface of the planet of Sean is outside of the cities, mostly bare. It's a lot of rock, very dark colored rock, and some very scraggly trees and plants. There's not a lot of cloud cover right now. I don't know if anyone except for maybe Gelpy, you've spent some time on the surface of the planet. You would know that it has very variable weather systems that come in very quickly. The planet itself is still in the process of being, it's not necessarily terraforming, but it's some sort of like advanced weather technology that is making it more and more able to be controlled, those weather systems. But right now they're still a bit uncanny. And outside of the cities, there's not a whole lot of edible plants or animals, but they do have high rise, again, for space, greenhouses at the edge of every city that would have more growing edible material. Who knows what the nearest ones are like, because obviously there was a bit of destruction over there. But here it's just rocks of various different shades of brown and red, some scraggly trees, and maybe a lizard-like creature or two. But Gaius is just standing in this open doorway with a glass in one hand. Yeah, absolutely.
So, seeing as you've got Gaius standing at the edge of an open door, I set the rest of what whiskey I had next to the armory container, and I pick up my laser pistol, and I walk over to Gaius, which I have very little friendship with or any connection. I
mean, you actually have been working with him. So at the very least, you know him. Like he's.
So he was already on the ship?
Yes, he's the trade manager from last time. So he's been with you not as long as the captain was, but probably maybe around 5 years. He definitely comes into the bar. You would know him as being a little bit more like flighty and like self-centered than the captain would be, but on a good day, he's a pretty good drinking buddy. So
I'm like staring at the laser pistol, like intricately, like flipping it over, and I walk up to Gaius. Hey Gaius, I don't think I know how to use this very well.
What are you talking about? It's a gun, you just shoot it. And he like demonstrates by like pointing at some rock and shooting it. And then the laser, like, which is in this instance, it's just, a very visible red laser, just for the sake of being a gun in a sci-fi show, but you see it hit a rock a little distance away, and the black spread of a burn on the rock.
I've never actually had to use this before, and I don't think I could use it. How do I use this thing?
Gaius rolls the gun over in his hand and points at like where the trigger is, and he says, "Well, it's easy. You just..." And he has the gun sideways and he pulls it, pointing outside again. And there's the sound of the typical laser pistol noise. And then he hits the same rock, but a little distance away. Definitely not bullseye, but it's the same rock that he hit before. So he's not horrible.
Do you think I'll have to use this today?
Well, considering the amount of time that they said it would take to get to Tyva, maybe tomorrow. I mean, you said you're good at talking. Maybe you won't have to use it at all.
I don't want to have to use it. I can't imagine what it would do to somebody.
If I know anything from watching the dramas, all you have to do is sneak up behind someone, hit them very hard in the head with the butt of the pistol. They'll collapse, you steal their uniform, and then you sneak onto a ship. Easy.
See, I could do that. I wouldn't mind hitting somebody on the back of the head, but I don't know if I could shoot them with a gun.
Well, just consider this another tool. I've seen you use a bottle. And he takes he takes his finger off the trigger and just uses the butt of the gun to hit his own hand to be like, see? But if you want to practice And he like shoots out the door again at like a reddish lizard that quickly scurries away that he doesn't actually hit.
And Cletus pulls his gun out and aims it that direction.
Cletus, would you like to roll to see how well you do?
I'm aiming at the lizard.
Okay.
First like combat roll. Please.
So I believe if you click on your quick, I will click here for you weapons. If you click on laser pistol, it should roll for you.
Is there any modifiers? I don't have any, do I?
No. So you get a 10 out of 20, which is pretty average. I would say that you don't hit the lizard, but you get close enough to it that it scares the lizard and it scares you. As you see the lizard very, very quickly move from where you just shot it.
God, that scared the hell out of me.
You're actually quite good at this. A little bit of practice, and I think you'd be quite a hand at it.
I'll keep working on it, guys. I'll keep working on it.
And he takes another swig of the whatever liquor it is that you had left.
It's whiskey.
And now you're both standing at the open door of the ship, a little bit above the level of the planet's surface, just shooting. And you can hear this, Gelpy, and maybe not from the cargo bay, but Uskar, if you've come forward at all, like you can definitely hear that people are shooting.
I was gonna say, I think Uskar would eventually leave them to work, so he's probably nearby just watching.
Is he within range of us?
Yeah. I think I'm more. If I see Gelpy around while you two are talking, I'd probably try and get her attention first. But if she's not around,
Gelpy, where are you in terms of like two of the passengers have gone into the cargo bay to do this like mechanic type work, and two people are just standing at the door chatting and shooting, and you're fairly new to this area, so would you be gathering your things? So Savara is still probably like gone back up to the passenger lofts, rooms, closets, and is basically trying to get whatever she can find that isn't very obviously belonging to someone else to kind of pack into a bag.
So I am on my comm pad, just trying to see like any of the signals that I can get, but also messaging Racket. And I sent him something that said, hey Racket, you know that favor? I think I need your help. Can you meet us in the city? And then I'm waiting for a response.
Okay. As far as what's on the comm pad, there is a repeating emergency government broadcast on every channel now, which has kind of overtaken any of the different news stations that you noticed before, in terms of there being a lot of different suppositions and no actual information that was reliable. Now it's one repeating clip of a newscaster. They introduce themselves as Lee Soo-young. It's a young man with a very classily, very put together styled, like preppy black hair that has the like side part and the combed over. He has a suit on, which is absolutely like the latest fashion. Probably has, this is a man that's done basically every official government broadcast. He's kind of the face of the government media relationship, and he also has a little probably a light blue flower with a white background that you would know as being indicative of the Khazardisk like religious people, in the same way that Savara was wearing blue and white. He has this small symbol of his affiliation. And he's saying that the government is advising people to stay inside their homes and not attempt to leave the planet. Have a planned route to your neighborhood's evacuation centers, but do not currently rush them because there's no current emergency. That citywide sirens in every city will be on alert in case of further aggression from the Jorhild ships, and that the government of Sean is currently in talks with the Jorhild fleet about a ceasefire or demands, and that currently any intersystem communication is jammed, so there are no new updates about whether any other systems have had similar threats from the Jorhild Empire. And it's just on repeat over and over, basically just saying for everyone to stay in their homes and be prepared to go to evacuation centers if the sirens were to sound.
Are we paying attention to this, or is it just randomly playing in the distance, like in the background?
This is on Gelpy's compad.
Oh, okay. So Gelpy's the one specifically looking at this.
Mm-hmm. But if any of you tried to access at any point, like any kind of like news or broadcast, all of the intra-system, so just on this planet, all of those like news stations, official news stations, and any kind of like, imagine on the radio dial, like every station on the radio dial is currently playing this on repeat. So they've basically just got the people who are saying that it's a plot or conspiracy theories, they've just shut all of that down to kind of try and calm things down.
And just for like understanding this planet a little bit more, Sean have its own military system, or because you said the Jorhilds have like bases there, correct?
They have from what Racket told you, there were at least a fair few of the Jorhild military people in the streets on Tyver. What you wouldn't know, but I'm willing to tell you, is that that's because there's a Jorhildian embassy on Tyver.
Okay.
There would probably be other embassies from other local-ish planets, other systems on other cities. They probably have like one per city to kind of like spread it out. But that would be why there were Jorhild military in the streets. Sean and the Khazar-Dûzk Empire in general are not super aggressive in terms of like militaristic. They're a very religious society. They do have plenty of smaller like mercenary outfits where like a city might have a neighborhood watch sort of thing. But for the most part, because of the it's not like post scarcity or post violence, there is definitely still violence, but for the most part, most of the expenditures of this empire tend to go into defense. Like if this planet had been settled for longer, it might have had enough time to put some kind of like defensive satellites in place. Obviously, if there were any, they were shut off or like taken care of by the Jorhild military before they got here. But they don't typically have like ground troops, as it were.
Okay, thank you. That just gives some context. So Gelpy would probably just be, after she messaged Racket, just kind of be, find a spot to sit and just probably have this playing on repeat. And she's just kind of watching it, like keeping tabs to see anything's changing, and just waiting for that message back.
Yeah, are you sitting down or are you standing up?
How are there still seats in the bar? Did everything?
There are chairs. They've been like rumbled around everywhere, but there are still some that aren't like broken and stuff. You can definitely like sit down in a chair.
Okay, yeah, so I'll just be sitting in.
If you're sitting, then Uskar would probably walk up, and then do the kind of knee bend, get down like eye level with you, and
what are you doing?
Well, today went a lot different than I thought it was gonna go.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
I'm not the only one. Oh.
No, I thought today was gonna be, well, you know, sometimes I've had a few strange departures from planets, but this is probably the strangest one I've had so far.
Yes, and that we didn't even depart. We take off and then we land.
Hopefully we fix that part.
But, yes.
How are you doing, Uskar?
I'm doing okay. I missed the captain. The captain, she was strong. She would have known what to do. She would have been like, go to Tyler or go 1 hour away and help people, you stupid idiots. And Uskar would have been like, yes, ma'am. But
you know she'd be real proud of you. You're keeping all of us safe and you're helping us.
Okay,
You
yes,
followed her
but that is
order
just
to
because
come and help
nobody
her.
else will. Nobody is being the leader. Uskar thinks it should be you. You have a very good heart. It must be a woman, so you must step up. You must say, everybody, I am Gelpy of the Wilts, and I will lead the group. Just like that.
I don't think I'm the leading type, Uskar. I got a lot following me, and I don't really want to have to bring a group down at some point.
That is what makes a good leader, is people following you.
No, I think you maybe got the wrong idea from that, Uskar.
Yes, it is good. You're very charismatic, you have a good smile, and you have good energy, and you're born a woman, so you're a very good leader.
Why do you keep saying born a woman?
What do you mean? You're a woman, so you're strong, and you know everything.
Yeah, but you know a lot of things too. You're quite strong as well. I saw you pushing all those carts all yourself.
Yes, but it was what he has in muscle, he lacks in brains and being a woman. What I am from, women, they are...
I'm just gonna like do hand motions, everything.
A woman, she takes many husbands, they all do the jobs for them, and we make sure that she never do anything. And it is a good life. If you find a mate, it's good. But many women, they come to be leaders, and you can be a leader because you have a good smile, like Oscar said, and a good heart. And the other people, Amora, Cubit, they don't want to be leaders, they're scared.
But maybe we don't need a leader. Maybe we need all these different pieces to come to solutions together.
Yes.
Because frankly, I don't know if I trust Gaius leading us, because I don't know, he seemed a little excited about those guns.
Yes, exactly. That is what is to be expected from a man.
But Uskar, I think I would trust your judgment, and I'd trust Cletus.
Yes.
I think as a group we can balance each other out, and we can make decisions together. We did it just a minute ago.
Yes. I am agreeing. I'm just thinking that sometimes it takes a woman to cut in and say, stop. We're going right.
Well, I'll keep that in mind.
Yes. Okay, good.
Is Amara and Cubit still in the other room?
You guys are in like the bar or the hallway in the center, right? The bar, I think you said. You're on a chair. Yeah, so they're right in the room right behind you.
Yes. I think we're like
So my portion of the conversation with the other fella is over, and I've been strolling this entirety of this conversation with my cane down the hallway. I can hear Usgard talking, and I can hear Gelpy talking. At that moment, I decide to chime in as I walk into the room, and at this point, Cletus has been wanting to talk to Usgard just to see how he's doing as well. Usgard.
Hello.
Hey, buddy.
It's good to see you.
It's good to see you as well. Have you thought about talking to Amara about the whole running things around here?
No, Uskar did. Many minutes ago when I bring it up.
Did you talk to him?
As a question, are you attempting at all to lower your voice so that Gaius doesn't hear you? Because before you would remember that he was basically like, if no one's stepping in, then I'm the leader and I'm saying what we do. So are you attempting to be like, let's not have Gaius hear that we're trying to get someone else to lead, or are you just not trying to do that at all?
Uskar is not watching his voice.
Okay.
Considering the conversation and the moment that I just had with him, there is no thought in my head to do that.
Okay. No, I just wanted to know because yeah,
there's no thought in my head right now to do that. All I'm thinking right now is having a good conversation with a friend.
No, that's totally
timing in my point of view of the whole
I just
thing.
wanted to make sure if you were trying to hide that or not, because that'll affect what Gaius hears or doesn't hear.
Okay.
And
Sorry,
Gelpy
continue.
was hushed tones when she was talking to Uskar about that bit.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you
But
made
I
it
was
clear
thinking
that
normally,
yeah.
Just
No, that's
like
totally
a normal
fine.
person.
You can
turn on me with the guns already.
you can totally move on. I just wanted to make sure, like, if this was something that he could or could not hear.
Okay.
Okay, so no, you want me to go talk to her again?
I personally think with the ability to fly and pilot ships and
Okay, but wait.
and
She cannot fly a ship.
Big oof.
Uskar's gonna bow in that direction. I am sorry! With all due respect. She crashed! What is Uskar to say?
that's true. Yeah, I forgot about that. And she destroyed my bar.
Maybe we could teach her to be a better pilot, yes. We could maybe put her in flight simulator, or she drive the forklift. And then she training. Yes, then she can train. Yes, what do you think?
I think this is on you. I was just thinking that she might be real good fit for us to run the, I heard that I heard Gelpy say she wasn't too interested, and I know for a fact from the bottom of my heart that I know Cubit said hell no, basically. I heard that.
Okay.
All that's left is Amara, and you said it had to be a lady folk, right?
Yes, it has to be a woman. So she's the only one left. Okay. I will tell
we
her.
gotta talk to Amara then.
Yes.
Are we in like hearing range?
No, you guys are back in
Yeah,
you guys are back in the cargo bay, which is definitely at least far enough distance that you can't hear them unless they were literally yelling for you.
Okay.
But now that we have that very decisive moment, let's flash over to what are you two doing while you're like, you have an hour where you're just tinkering, and you're probably nearing the end of that hour. So you have a bunch of different parts and pieces from different things that were just in the cargo bay, like maybe part of the actual cargo bay workshop you've taken apart to kind of try and get this forklift a little more juice, and it's all like scattered around you. What are you two doing? Is there like a camaraderie and silence, or have you been talking?
I think we have the forklift kind of open. I'm kind of half in the forklift asking, can you pass me tools? But I was thinking as this conversation was going on, I kind of think to myself, I have this kind of guilty conscience. Like, I'm not very good at, as Cubit is not very good about kind of opening up and talking about things, but I feel this kind of camaraderie with Amara. I open with, Amara, how do you feel about Savara leaving and wanting to go help? I don't know how to feel. I feel that it would be something right, but I also don't know how to help.
And Amara takes a moment to kind of just collect her thoughts before she speaks, and says, I don't think there is a right or wrong choice, but those people do need help. And if we can help them, I think we should. And she passes Cubit a wrench.
Grab the wrench and kind of tinkering away. And I felt this overwhelming guilt when Savara looked at me. But I don't know how to help people. I don't know how to fix what I don't know. But I think that all of us are needed for this. I don't think that we should be splitting up. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I look at you and I say I agree.
And at that moment, I'm assuming either Uskar or Cletus are going to come down the hallway to inform Amara that she's been told that she has to be the captain now.
Yes, Amara!
We're together.
Dear Cletus and I, we have something to tell you.
Cletus, do you have any more of that whiskey?
Yeah, here with oh shit, no, I left it by the armory. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
I can go get it though. You want me to go get it?
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
Maybe
Amara,
later.
we think that because Cubit is too scared and because Gelpy is too nice of a person, that you should be the leader of the group, and that you are going to drive the forklift to learn how to be a better pilot so that you can be a true leader of the group. But because you're a woman, you're very strong and you always know what to do, Uskar thinks you should be the leader, and Cletus was the one that suggested it, and everybody agrees. Even Gaius, he said yes, even though he didn't speak, but Minos, he would say yes. So
we knew what he felt. We knew it. He felt that way.
Uskar is very good at feeling people. Congratulations.
What do you think? You should be the captain.
I'll bow in front of her.
And Amara just says, okay, Uskar, okay.
Okay, Captain. But you need to learn how to fly. Okay?
Yeah, you gotta fly better.
Guys, Oscar cannot lose another captain.
I'm working on that. I'm working on that,
Cletus,
buddy.
he cannot lose another bar.
That's right.
Whew. Oscar is tired.
I'm just gonna sit.
Amara just goes back to tinkering with her stuff, shaking her head.
All right, so let's flash forward a tiny bit in time. The forklift has now been upgraded. It's been about an hour. All of you, I'm assuming, have packed up your things into the backpacks that you probably should have in your equipment. You should have backpacks, I think. And I feel like just to kind of bypass, you managed to like open up the cargo bay door somehow and get the forklift out of it. Like that'll just be a part of the repairing the forklift, just being able to get it out of the cargo bay. So now you're all standing, including Savara and Gaius, outside of the ship with some of your packs maybe on the forklift. There's only room on the forklift for maybe like 2 people, but it'll certainly help you go faster.
Well, I should be definitely on the forklift because I'm on a cane. So
Right, absolutely.
Okay.
And Savara, she has her backpack on her back, and she has her back turned so that the ruined city is behind her, and you can see the smoke from the city in the sky behind her, and the red rocks and the wreck of the ship to her side. And she says, "So this is what we're doing, then. You're all okay with leaving these people?"
I think Cubit kind of emerges from the crowd of packs and Savara, I don't think that we're leaving these people. I think it's just not our time to help them. We can still help. But I don't feel comfortable you going on your own. You can come with us and help us. We need to stick together.
You heard before.
Yes.
Even with that, it'll be at least 12 hours. Some of those people, they just don't have that sort of time. If you do come back, you know where I'll be.
We can get off the planet. Then maybe we can find a way to help more of these people, though. Figure out what's happening to the rest of the planet.
It
doesn't seem like many others are getting off.
We've got to help ourselves before we help others.
Can I try and talk her into joining us?
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely a thing you can do. Could you first like say what your character would say that is like trying to convince her, and then we'll go ahead and make a roll.
So I walk up to her. Actually, I get off of the forklift because I'm already situated.
Mm-hmm.
And I grab my cane and I kind of like stumble over to her.
Mm-hmm.
Is there sand or is this hard rock?
It's hard rock. Imagine, like, I don't know if you've ever been to Hawaii, but like most of this planet is still fairly young on the surface. So it's like hard and rough lava rock sort of stuff.
Okay. I walk up to her. I know inside your heart that this is the only thing for you to do because this is a decision you've made. But I will tell you right now that if we can get to a ship and get everybody on the ship, and then we can get situated, we can come back here and help those people even more so than we can right now, or even you alone. Because the situation is you're going to go by yourself and you're going to try and help them with 2 stim packs or whatever you've got, and that ain't enough. You just don't have enough right now. I know it's in your heart, but you don't have enough to do it. If you come with us, we get the ship because we need you. We need what you have to offer to get through this. Then we can go back and help those people.
I have to unmute myself. I'd say that's absolutely worth making a roll. So, Cletus, this would probably be charisma, which you're very good at, and talk. Either talk or lead, but you've already made the commitment to like not being the leader of the group.
Yeah.
So I think it's more likely to be talk.
So I've not actually made rolls with this yet, so you might have to help me through this first one.
Right. So on your sheet where it says skills, there's talk and then it says ask next to it.
Okay.
So on the drop down menu by ask, you would go ahead and click charisma or CHA.
Okay.
And then I just whispered to you a list of your skills and you'll just click talk on that list and it should roll for you.
Okay. And just submit it.
Mm-hmm. No modifier. Wow. So that's actually, Cletus rolled a 10. And that's actually the difficulty I set for this. So Savara, she looks at you and she kind of turns around and she looks back at the city and she takes a big breath in and then says, maybe you're right. I'm always just thinking of what's in my power to do, but you're right. We could go get more things and have power to help more people. But you have to promise me that we'll come back.
We will. We will. I promise you. That's my promise to you.
All right. Then I'll come along.
I want you to know that I understand where you're coming from, but thank you. Thank you so much for listening.
And she looks at you and she looks you in the eye and takes like a moment, a beat. And then she says, it is only a fool who closes his ears to the truth. And you would know probably, Gelpy, that is a saying within the Khazardist religion. Like that's an oft quoted saying. But I don't know if any of the rest of you would know enough about the religion of this sector. And with that, I think that we're going to start our rather long trek towards the city of Tyver. Let's first, though, take a quick 3 to 5 minute break. Everyone refresh and rehydrate. And we'll see you back here very, very soon.
Ow, that was way too loud. Yeah, we'll be right back here very, very soon, guys. Just like Blue Jay said, thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to join our Discord and check out the previous episodes over on YouTube. See you in a minute. Hello, and we are back.
Welcome back to episode 2 of the Bystanders. Our intrepid heroes, I suppose, are currently going to start out on their way towards not the nearest city, which had an elevator fall on it, but to the next nearest city, which is not quite as damaged. Is there anything in particular that you want to try and like scavenge from the ship other than just all of your items on the forklift before you go?
I know that the ship's kind of destroyed, and you said that we can maybe salvage some things. I'm not sure like what we'll kind of see along the way, and I don't know how far we're going to be able to get this forklift to go, but I think I'd like to maybe me and my assistant here try to get some spare parts in case we need to make some repairs to the forklift along the way.
Okay.
If that's possible.
Yep.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't want to interrupt you.
Oh no, as the class that you took, you already have 6 spare parts in your inventory, but you can absolutely roll to try and get more. Again, it'll be time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So because you had the assistance of Amara, you could maybe also have asked in that hour's time for the assistance of Uskar, and just like gathered a few more spare parts.
Okay.
From the body of the ship or the engine or something of the kind. It's just generic like material basically for whenever you need to use it.
Okay.
Can I send Uskar to get something for me?
From the ship? Yeah, absolutely.
Uskar.
Yes. What do you need?
Would you mind going up to what's left of the bar?
Okay.
There is a switch behind the counter.
Okay.
Right next to the light switch. It'll open up the door to my room.
Okay.
You run in and grab me my last 2 bottles of whiskey.
Very important.
Yes. Okay. Run in, the switch, the bottles. Okay. Uskar will do this.
This is good because I was also gonna do a quick pan for like any mementos, just anything that Uskar would have noticed or just anything like important to the captain or anything else that was important to anybody on the ship. I don't think he would have anything too personal to him, but
I feel like most of the crew have gathered their own things in terms of the captain's materials. What sort of thing are you looking for? She has like her pants and like maybe like 2 different jackets. One obviously is on her smushed corpse. You already got her hat.
yeah.
What about her name tag on her jersey, her outfit?
I don't think that she wears a name tag, and if she did, it would have been on her person.
Okay.
Is there anything that says like captain on it? Any placard, any pin, any door?
Is Uskar or Cletus, are they the type of person to like give a best captain ever mug or something like that, or award sort of thing? Like I could absolutely see that maybe
the napkin.
You would have that though, right? You have that?
Yeah, you grabbed that. You were like showing it.
Okay, I do have it. Okay. Just
yeah,
wanna make sure.
I think Uskar would definitely have gotten a mug like that, or like a travel, like a thermos.
So yeah, we have you're thinking about like what should I take, like standing in the doorway to the captain's cabin that's like half open, and we have a momentary flashback to maybe whatever planet you were on when you first got hired as a laborer on this ship, and there was it was probably a space station where you had gone from a passenger to like a kind of a crew member, and right outside of the dock at this station there was a very basic like Spencer's stall, and they engraved any sort of thing you could need, like a mug or a travel like a container or like a best captain ever award.
Beautiful.
Like,
it would say Capitan on it.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, so I'd grab that, and then I don't know if I have to look too hard for Cletus's switch in his bar. But I'd be very sure to on the way out of the captain's room. I am sorry again, Captain. I am sorry. And then go down to the bar. Probably hit the light switch and look at it confused for a minute, and then hit the proper switch. And are there any bottles left? Is there anything left over, or?
Well, when we were in there, everything was strode really bad. So if there were bottles left, it would be out in the open for you.
Yeah. I don't have to. Do I have to roll it like a destruction of the bottles check?
The 2 bottles that he says were in his quarters, I would say, because you do live on a spacefaring vehicle that occasionally gets just hit by debris, that you would have them appropriately stored.
Yeah, right.
And most of the other stuff probably would have been space ready if you hadn't been docked and fairly secure. You, from description, have been drinking fairly heavily and you hadn't been able to get restocked yet. So it absolutely makes sense to me that the ones that would be remaining would be the one in Cletus's like private supply. So those 2 are not broken. No.
Okay. So I'll just grab the probably the whole box or whatever they're stored in, and carry it along and just kind of try and balance the mug on top of it and warily walk back to the door and say, okay, I have it.
Thank you, Scar.
Yes. Grab the mug.
Cubit, can you go ahead and roll me 1d6 to just see how many extra spare parts you get from before?
Okay.
Oh,
Damn.
that was a 1.
Oof.
She gets
So,
like a extra
on your-
roll for cuteness because she has a cat.
It's like a paperclip or something.
You gotta take the cat feet. Sorry, if you make a roll, add +2 if there's a cat on the screen.
Yeah, that's definitely
Missed that one.
That's definitely a special feat. So go ahead and add an extra spare part to your spare parts in your gear on your character sheet. But unfortunately, that is just 1.
At least you rolled more health. We'll take that.
Yeah,
Does
right.
she still get a reroll for the scene?
This isn't a skill roll. This was just
Okay.
like me allowing there to be time.
A check.
So I don't think that this qualifies for the reroll. Plus, you might want to use it for traveling. So, other than the discussion we had with Savara and the last minute gathering of everyone's items, the most important thing now is getting to Tyver. So in this instance, it is in fact still at least an 8 hour. It's because it was going to be 24 hours. You've cut it down to 12 by having the forklift available to like switch off in terms of one person sitting and the other people walking, so that you're able to rest. But it still is going to take 12 hours in. You absolutely have like a pseudo GPS, future GPS, so that you know basically what direction you're going in, but it's still unfamiliar terrain and fairly dangerous. So this is going to be where survive is going to come in handy. So before we set out, I would like someone to make a roll. Whomever would like to. I think Jay, you probably have the best survive skill. I'm not sure.
Yes. And I would probably suggest it as well.
So you're all standing by the forklift, and someone, I'm not sure who would be like the one who first like pulls up the map, as it were.
Well,
I
I
guess
mean-
Amara would.
I would think Amara. Yeah.
Yeah, trying
that
to
makes sense.
fall in place of what Uskar.
Right. So Amara pulls up the map and is looking at the map, which is, even if you do the Google Street View, as it were, it's still just a bunch of rocks and trees, and it's not really that easy. There's no crashed ship on the satellite image view. So you pull up the map and you're just looking at it and looking around at the rocky terrain, and you can pull up where Sean's city is on the map, but that still doesn't give you a great idea of where you are relative to it. And you could just go east from where you are now, and you'll get closer to Tiver because it is in an easterly direction, but this is definitely an opportunity to both use. It's probably, I'm gonna guess, someone needs to roll the survive and someone needs to roll like notice in order to spot any like landmarks. So this can absolutely be two separate people or the same person. But the survive, I believe, is typically, I would say it's probably either constitution or wisdom, depending on like how you're doing it. And then the notice.
I have notice, so I'm at 0 on notice.
As well.
Okay.
I have a 1 in notice.
Oh, very noticeable.
Noticeable.
So Amara is holding up the map and looking around. Amara, like you, without rolling, obviously, like you can make the roll. You can't really like get a good idea of where exactly you're starting from. Do you ask for help or?
Yeah, no, I kind of push it out away from my body and I look at the group and I say, do you know where we are?
It's okay, I can find this. Uskar has made a map many times.
I'm gonna grab it upside down. Oh, then I'll flip it over.
Okay, Cubit, where are we?
And I'm gonna use my survive roll, but ask her for help.
Okay.
Is that
Okay, so if you're
able to?
helping, she has to say how she's helping, and then she'll make a roll with her skills. And if she's successful, then she's able to give you a +1.
And you said there's not really any noticeable landmarks. It's all kind of like just.
You would
lava
have
rock.
you would have to roll the notice to get the landmarks. So obviously Uskar like took the map from Amara and was like, Cubit, you have to be the one to help me. But like other people are totally okay with.
Yeah, I've just thrust it at her, but
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can roll my notice.
Okay.
Okay, look around.
I think I'm kind of looking around. I'm not really seeing anything. Just kind of like.
Okay, so Cubit, if you would go ahead and roll me wisdom and notice.
Okay. I lost my window. Where to declare this? Okay. Notice.
So you get a 6. You're able to kind of figure out like by how far distant the city looks, where you probably are relative to Sean in vaguely what direction, but you can't be 100% sure that you aren't like on the opposite side of the city or something of that kind. So you could end up heading in exactly the wrong direction. Like you're looking at it and you're like, I'm pretty sure we're within this circle, but you're not sure which like side of the city.
I think I walk over to Uskar and take the map and kind of like stand next to him, and I think if we walk
Yes.
that, no, maybe it.
That's why I am pointing to. Which way?
You
have no idea? Okay, I have idea.
I can't really. I don't. Can we rock, paper, scissors this one? I'm not really.
No, I do not think we can do that. That is not a sign of a good leader.
and I'm gonna like shoot a glance over at Amara, like a encouraging glance.
Amara's like getting ready to rock, paper, scissors.
Can I use my survive or survival skill here? I guess to find what type of like area it is. Is the area that we're on? Did we crash land on a street? Did we crash land in like the suburbs? Was it on the farms? Would I see plowed land?
All of the inhabited areas of this planet are within pre-built cities. The external parts of the planet, like I said, is mostly like very new surface, like lava rock, hardened magma, some very straggly trees. That's part of the reason why this settlement is so new, is because they haven't yet used whatever future like terraforming technology on the entire surface of the planet. They've just built city sites, which have then been inhabited. So there are no like streets or suburbs or farms out here. All of the farming is done in vertical greenhouses near the cities themselves.
So That's entirely what Uskar was looking for, was farms, which he knows best.
Mhm.
And kind of scratch his head. I cannot see any. Do you still want me to make the roll here with survive?
I would say that survive is able to, like, you can get food and water and shelter.
Right.
But it's not necessarily going to get you going in the right direction. So I would say that, again, the best thing to do would be to get someone to make a successful notice check to get you, like, kind of started. And then you can make the roll to make sure that you don't, I don't know, trip and fall into a crevasse or, like, run out of water.
I can make an attempt if you'd like.
Yes, I have noted all the amazing places in the area, but I have not found any farms, so I am useless. I am sorry.
Say,
sorry.
while everyone's looking at the map, Gelpy's probably like walking around just trying to look for something as well. So I'm
Okay. Yeah, so you can both make the same roll. It's going to be notice and wisdom. We're going for an 8 here. So either one of you gets an 8.
Well, I was
That'll
going to
set-
say real quick,
Yeah.
when we were in the midst of all the chaos during the crash, Cletus does remember at one point seeing, I wouldn't say so much the specific city that you're pointing out, but I do remember as we were traveling, seeing some of the larger landmarks out
From a
there
distance.
from a distance, and I was very excited. This is prior to the crash, but I was
Right.
excited to see like all these really cool places. And
So maybe you were looking out of the like viewfinder while you're sitting in the bar beforehand.
correct,
I would absolutely say that would give you an advantage on this roll for sure.
because I do remember seeing there was a larger city north of us.
Okay, so if you want to, because you described a situation which would give you an advantage, you can go ahead and add a +1 modifier, but the roll is still notice and wisdom. The goal is 8.
So
And
I
you
click
can-
notice, go to wisdom,
Uh-huh.
and then
And-
add a +1.
Yeah, for the modifier there.
And that's just the up down right there.
No. So what you'll do is when you click, I will whisper you again your skills sheet.
Okay.
When you click notice, it will ask you for a modifier, probably.
Okay,
Sure.
sorry. I just remembered that. So +1.
Yep. So Cletus got an 8, and you said as well, Gelpy, that you were taking a look as well.
Yeah, while they're kind of like looking at the map, she probably would have just kind of like wandered around and just started looking
Okay.
for anything noticeable.
So you would go ahead and roll notice and wisdom as well. And like if you can get more, then we'll get like a better understanding of where you are and where you need to go.
The system
Sorry, I'm
is
just
so
making
cool.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
Did it? And then no modifier. There we go. It pops up. Nope.
Okay. Well, it's good that Cletus rolled, because Gelby is looking around, kind of wandering and taking a look in every direction from the forklift, and even just looking at the horizon. Your eye is constantly distracted by the burning, smoky wreckage of the city behind you, and you're unable to get yourself together quite enough to really focus on what it is that you're looking for, which is indeed the other city. Cletus, you would notice that you see a slight rise in the ground to probably to the southeast. And then on the horizon, although this planet is fairly flat, you do notice on the horizon there is very hazy the mountains, which then gives you the ability to like look back on the map and scan out. I don't know if you take it from.
I grabbed the map from them.
Yeah. So you scan out, you get an idea of where the mountain range that you're seeing like hazy in the distance is, and you're able to be like, okay, this is the direction we need to go. So you have that in your head.
So I grabbed the map and I look at it. Do I want to explain the whole seeing it when I was coming in?
If you
The
like,
memory?
that's absolutely something that you can, as your character, say.
So when we were in the up in flying in the sky in space, I do remember when we were coming in that there was a large city somewhat distant from here, in I think that might be the one we're looking for.
Yes. That is not the city that the...
No, this was a city before we even got here, before things got crazy and you saw the bomb and blowing up and falling on the ground and stuff. Before that, I saw a very large city southeast of here.
So, Cletus, like, he puts the map so that all of you can see it, and you see him, like, turn it or arrange it so that the city is pointing in a particular direction. And then I'm assuming, because this is super future tech, there's, like, a lock so that it will keep the appropriate direction. And then you all can start out on your journey. So this would be when we make the survive check. This is basically... you have a limited amount of supplies, considering that you hadn't gotten more cargo, and also considering that you only have so many broken bottles that you can put water in. The ship has a renewable water tank that would have been fine for you in space. It would have recycled any of your waste and turned it into water that you could use again. But obviously the problem is not having it, it's carrying it. So you have a limited amount of water, and you have a limited amount of food rations, which are probably mostly basically Soylent, because in space you dry powdered food basically. You would have had more like fruits and vegetables if you'd had the delivery from the planet's surface, or if you'd gone to see if any of the greenhouses were still standing, but those are probably high demand from other people. So this survive roll is basically just going to be to make sure that you are able to get from here to the next city without, completely running out of water or, losing your way or anything of that sort. So
Okay. Is this strength or dex? Or con? You said con or wisdom, actually, right?
Constitution or wisdom, I think, make more sense for this type of survive.
Okay. I'd also probably be carrying a lot of things too if we want to flavor it that way for Constitution. If the water was the heaviest, then
oh yeah,
I'd
absolutely. And you have a +1 from Cletus successfully finding your way.
Oh, is that on the modifier then?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me go back to that and Constitution and submit. A 15.
Holy.
Wow.
So
Yes.
Knows how to survive.
Of course, I have a big muscles. I can carry it all.
So describe to me, obviously this is taking a large amount of time because it's cut in half. This is a 12-hour trek, and only like a sixth of the time can you be on the forklift and not walking. So you're all doing this journey. I think it's a single star in the system. The single star is, passing overhead in the sky. You can start to see as you get closer the very, very long shadow of the still standing space elevator from the city that you're heading to, which enables you to more accurately find your direction from Tyver to Tyver. I mean, describe to me how Uskar is like making this as pleasant as possible, basically, with that roll of 15. You're the most Bear Grylls of them all. Like, this is yeah.
So I am rationing out the rations, and I am also carrying everything. I am not going on the forklift. It's for the women to walk on, because they will need it to save their energy, to talk, and to speak, and to lead us out of this
I'm on the
planet.
forklift.
Okay, yes. And Uskar is judging you. Very much.
How dare you?
It's also probably maybe I think foraging a little bit off to the side if there is allowed.
Okay,
if there's a tree of fruits or anything like that.
Does Uskar catch and kill and cook some of the lizards?
Yes, and that was my first thought when he shot it earlier. Was I was gonna cook it. So yeah, he's definitely. There would probably be a moment where he'd have to put things down and whether or not they continue going or wait.
Right, you definitely have to take a break. It's a 12-hour walk.
Yeah.
That's a long ass time.
He would walk until they said stop. So
So let's say, who do you think of the group? I'm assuming maybe Cletus, but like you can go ahead and correct me. Who do you think of the group would be the first one to be like, no, I have to take a break?
Cletus is riding on the forklift, so I may have actually fallen asleep at this point. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've had a lot of whiskey right now, so
That's true.
I
If
may
you guys
be asleep snoring right now.
If you want to, we can roll for it. I don't feel like with Uskar's role that he would if you say you're just going to go until one of the ladies says they need to stop, then that totally makes sense.
If I did hear Cletus sleeping, I would probably mention it at some point that we should take a break.
Cletus is sleepy. He has worked too hard all day.
Screw you.
Meanwhile, but this girl, it does not need to stop. He is doing
It's hard
fine.
to make rolls like this.
We've had a lot happen today. I think we all kind of deserve a little bit of a break.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and say it's been probably 4 hours of walking. And the sun is still in the sky. They have very long days here. But you, Cletus, feel the forklift underneath. Who else is on the forklift at this time? Is it one of the three of you, or is it Savar?
I imagine Gelpy, honestly, would be on the forklift, but that's just my interpretation of the situation.
I mean, you're all trading off, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually was gonna say, I think Gelpy, I have a question for you, Blue Jay, about the terraforming.
Mhm.
Would there be enough like foliage on the ground for her to be? I imagine she's probably like looking as they're walking for any like herbs or medicinal plants that she can kind of like pull as she's going along the way.
This planet outside of the because like I said, the cities themselves had been like the first wave of terraformed land. There's probably some gardens within cities and stuff, but the planet itself doesn't have native medicinal plants that you would be familiar with. Any that you like, you could definitely roll to be like, no wait, like when I landed here a week ago, the first thing I did was look up the native medicinal plants. But without a roll, it would just be like you wouldn't know.
Can she search her compad for something?
Yeah,
Information.
Yeah, you probably could do that. I would say like that would be the process of like making the roll, would be like if you could find
Hey, Siri, what is this?
Sorry, just to sort of like really understand
my Siri
this
went
planet.
off.
It's like volcanic, like almost like our moon, and then we have like little moon bubbles on it where people are living. Like it's an uninhabitable planet, and they've
the
made
planet
it.
has an atmosphere.
Okay.
So it's not uninhabitable. You're breathing air. That's fine. What it is like you said about the moon, the surface on this planet is very young. It's like recently cooled. So it's very hard rock and not soil.
Okay. That makes a lot more sense. Okay.
Yeah, the actual cities were the first places where they used this terraforming technology, but it's not like you drop a seed into the planet's atmosphere and then a week later it's fine. It takes a lot of time. So the city, yeah, so the cities aren't necessarily all inside of domes. The land that the cities are built on has been already kind of like
Pre-treated.
Yeah, pre-treated.
Gotcha,
in
okay.
terms of
Sorry.
like the rock has been ground down into some soil that you could actually build on and would
Yeah.
support things and could grow things. So like that's the case here, is that any kind of plants out here and animals out here are very scraggly, like they grow in the rock and through the like holes in the rock. There might be something that could be used medicinally, but it would just require a roll to find that information.
So, yeah, Gelpy will probably, while she's waiting for a message back from Racket, she'll kind of have probably been searching whatever she could find about Tyvar, any information there, like seeing if the reports had changed, and then she probably would look up like if there is any local fauna, and then if there was, then she would be looking. So I don't know if you want to do two rolls or
I would just say that you can just make the roll to like see if there's an available, like if you make a certain roll, it'll be like, yes, it's this one, and then you can just like start
Can I
collecting.
interject real quick?
Mm-hmm.
My thought too on that, and I may be completely out of line, but I think that considering that we still have the lady that you gave the medicine to
Savara.
with us, Savara. Sorry, I forgot her name. I apologize.
It's totally fine.
We still have Savara. She still has all the meds. I still have an extensive amount of meds with me. I feel like that this would be like a search for food, right? Like
you could do both because
at this point, because that would be more important, I think.
The survival roll that Uskar just did, that was the crit. He got as good as he could get, and survive is obtaining food and water.
Okay,
that's part of it. So the survival roll, that's already taking care of the food situation. No, it's totally fine. So Gelpy, if you wanted to do that checking, and I will absolutely, after we do this roll, get back to you in terms of brackets because he would have had time by now. But I believe it's going to be an intelligence and likely either know or heal. Yeah, you're basically just looking through the Encyclopedia Galactica about, what native fauna here might be useful in what situations.
Oh, wait. Did you say int or whiz? Sorry.
Int, yeah. Intelligence.
Okay. Int, 1, 3, skills. Sorry, I'm going through the process.
No, it's a 13. Hot diggity damn. So wow. I would say that they're one of the brush sort of things that you see around you. It grows mostly like near rocks where there would be shade. There is a small plant that basically looks like a very thick stem of the plant, and then it has some like tender buds with little leaves, and those tend to like wilt and grow over and over pretty quickly. But if you can find those buds and leaves, those would be medicinal in so much as they could offer like pretty much the same thing as like an antibiotic, and the bark of the plant itself can be used like aspirin.
Okay. If we do break, Gelpy will probably take some time to harvest.
Yeah, sure.
Look for,
so we see Uskar shouldering this heavy burden, look back at Cletus basically falling asleep on the forklift. Maybe Savara is sitting next to him, rubbing her feet as she's taken a shoe off to kind of rub at a blister or something of the sort. And you all take your first break in travel. It's been quite some time. Gaius is probably a bit ahead of the group. He's still got his laser pistol like holstered, as it were. There's probably holsters that come with them that can just attach to pants or jackets or something. And he has it holstered, but he's also got his like hand on his hip. You can tell like when you look at him that he's standing like he thinks like a cowboy would, with his hand on his 6-shooter and kind of looking out in the horizon and very pointedly not like talking to anyone. Savara, when you stop, she gets off of the forklift so that the supplies can be accessed and sits down on a rock nearby and is again just rubbing at her feet. At this point, Gelpy, you could absolutely go and gather any kind of medicinal herbs you would like to. I would say give me a roll 1d6, and you can have that amount of just like you could just put medicinal herbs on your sheet. Okay, so go ahead and put 4 in medicinal herbs. And because Savara didn't leave you, you can put the Lazarus patch in the lift back because it's still accessible to you and I don't have a character sheet for her. What are the rest of you doing in terms of like you've already been walking in the sun for 4 hours?
I just woke up for the first time. I'm gonna take an opportunity to, hey, Uskar,
Yes!
I'm hungry.
Yes, I am catching lizards right now! I'm like frog hopping on them, trying. You know how kids catch frogs?
Yeah.
That is me 100% trying to get them before they scramble through the cracks.
Hey,
that's-
Uskar,
Yes?
I bet it'd be easier if you shot him.
No, that would ruin the meat.
So, Uskar, with your previous roll of Constitution, you absolutely can get some food. I would say a similar, because you got a crit there. I would say roll 2d6, and that's the amount of like rations
Okay.
that you can get from these lizards.
9.
Mine.
Okay, so I
Nice.
found 4 lizards, and I found 5 nice weird little lettuce things. They could be used as lettuce, but they are very spiky and very hard. But if you wrap the lizard in them, maybe they'll be okay.
Do you know
It's
how
like
to
some
cook
cactus or
lizard?
something.
No, we boil it!
Sorry, what'd you say, Blue Jay?
It's like a cactus or
Yeah,
something.
like I just like a dried succulent, but
So you actually have 8 mouths to feed. So that will be like one meal this day. That'll be enough to like keep everyone fed. You don't have to touch your soylent supplies from the ship for the day. But yeah, Uskar, you said you have to boil them. So do you make a campfire with like random sticks, or do you have some kind of thing that you owned already, like a
I'm going to take a quick peek real quick. Now I know we have lasers. All right, so that's
you also have a survival kit.
I don't. Oh, there it is. Okay, I was like, I can't see what's in it. Yeah, I do have a firelighter, and we have a thermal blanket to sell or to light on fire, not sell. Sell to the fire gods. Yeah, so I'd probably take anything that's a little flammable, and
There are definitely like little scrawny like trees and brush around for sure.
yeah.
Can I interject?
Yeah.
We could, this is out of character, we could utilize the napkin and be kind of like a final.
Oh.
It's up to you.
So they're like you can in character offer that, but Uskar is probably like gathering brush and dried twigs as a sort of thing. So you see Uskar doing this, getting ready
So
to.
he's struggling to find like something light enough to start the fire. Like
We have many supplies, but they will need to go through the whole night, or however long we are resting. We will need somebody to watch the fire, and we will need somebody to take care of the fire. I volunteer, of course. And okay, so anything flammable, give it to me.
And I'm gonna set to work with like a weird light in my eyes.
So I walk over to him with my cane, and I reach into
We can use
my.
the cane. Yes, good idea.
Don't touch my cane.
Why not? Okay.
I reach into my large coat and I pull out the napkin. Uskar,
Yes.
I've got Captain's napkin.
No. You put it back in your pocket.
Are you sure?
We will not forget the Capitan after 4 hours.
We don't have to forget her.
That is why Uskar bought the #1 Capitan mug.
We don't have to forget her, Uskar. We can say goodbye.
Okay, that's why
Well,
we
it
had the
burns.
funeral.
What am I gonna do with this napkin? It'll
Wipe your
save
face.
us.
You can wipe your face if it gets dirty.
It can save us. We can eat right now because of it.
I mean, there are like trees and brush and little like leaves and stuff. Like, there's definitely fire making materials. Like, this isn't the only flammable thing, because if it was, the fire wouldn't last for very long.
Yes, Uskar will scavenge the entire land before we use the napkin.
All right,
No.
I'll put it back. I'm
Yes.
sorry, Uskar.
Yes, sorry, Captain.
Back to the fire.
So as for Gelpy, when you're looking at your phone before you go to kind of look around at the local flora, and gather some medicinal herbs. Every time I say that, I just think of weed.
All it is around this planet.
But
It could be what Gelpy's looking for. We don't know.
Yes,
You
Uskar like to
get-
talk.
You notice that you got a message that you probably didn't notice while you were tiredly walking under the hot sun from Racket. And the message is basically like, it says something along the lines of, "You're calling in your favor now? I mean, I'm not going to go back on my word, but it's not a great time." And then there's a probably 15-minute break. And then there's another message from Racket. And it says, "You know where I am. As soon as you get here, I'll see what I can do. No promises."
And Gelpy will, as soon as she notices, she'll kind of pull off to the group a little bit and pull out her compad and start responding. And she'll say, "I wouldn't call it in unless it was absolutely necessary. I won't pull you away from, I'm sure you have people that need you right now. But we're going to need some help when we get to the city. I'll look for you." And then she'll send.
Okay. And then, there's a little bit of a delay of everyone's super busy all the time right now because, the world is ending or whatever. And then he messages back and says, "Last time I met you, it was just an I. That might cost you a little more." But then there's like a smiley face. So when you get to Tyver, Racket at least is expecting you.
He hits her with the kappa.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll help you, Kappa.
Just in this world, I'll send back a real sassy gif, just to be.
Kappa
Sure, yeah,
doesn't
that's
exempt you
totally
from the rules.
Oh my
Kick
God.
W. Kick W.
Are Cubit and Amara doing or saying anything? You've, like everyone else, you've been walking for a very, very long time.
Yeah, so I kind of imagine Amara was trailing behind Uskra the entire walk, kind of just keeping an eye out for him, picking up all the trinkets that dropped off of his pack, putting them back in their little pockets, and then started to kind of help him kindle the fire as he built it.
I imagine Cubit to be a very small human, but trying to carry things might have been a burden. So
You have all of your 7 spare parts, including some scrap metal strapped to your back.
trying
It's like a door.
Yeah, just random stuff, and I'm doing my best to kind of just gently put stuff down, but then kind of slip and it just falls over and kind of a noise, but I'm it's fine, it's okay. I just kind of sit down and just observe what people are doing.
One of the pieces of metal is dragging behind you, so whenever you stop, you can just lean back on the piece of metal, like a kickstand.
I like it.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say Uskar would look over at Cubit. Cubit, let Uskar carry those, please. You should not be worrying yourself with the burden of carrying things. Uskar is big and strong for this reason.
I imagine Uskar just tries to pick up the parts, but just picks me up also, just kind of
Okay, see? Yes, okay, I will put you down now. I'm sorry. Also,
Thank
come
you,
here.
Uskar.
Come here, please, Cubit. Amara, yes. This is how you make fire.
It's like a weird glow in his eyes, and lights it. And yes.
Look at
He's
the
all
flames. Yes. Okay, so you take the lighter and you put it out to the things. And we keep it going for a while, okay? I will look over it. We'll make sure it does not burn us all down.
There's the tiniest little fire that has a little tiny bit of smoke and these twigs where it's crackling, and then Uskar just takes a massive log that he just ripped off of a tree and just drops it on the whole thing.
Boom!
Okay, it will be good.
So for the most part, y'all, you take this break. You might take another one, but you get to the city of Tyver with no major problems due to those successful notice and survive rolls. And when you get to the city, You reach the outskirts, and just like Sean City, this one has been built mostly vertically. Indeed, they look almost identical. Gelpy, I don't know if you had visited more than one city on your last visit here. Obviously, you had gone to Sean City to join the crew of the ship. But they're all laid out on a very strict what's the word? Layout blueprint.
Yeah.
The city's been planned to the nth degree, and Gelpy, you would know this. I don't know the rest of you, but this is a very Cozartist type thing to do, where they believe that this is the best way for a thing to be done to satisfy the unnamed god, and that by building and like populating this city, this perfect planet, it will bring about some sort of like post-scarcity utopia that like they will satisfy the needs of their god with this great work terraforming an entire planet, and then just the rest of eternity is utopian. So every single thing about all of these streets is it's perfect, and that's probably why it's taken so long for them to get to the rest of the planet. This is absolutely like the Cozartist way of doing things. So when you get to the outskirts of Tyver, you would see the same vertical buildings that you saw below you when you were docked. You would see the beautiful kind of like crystal green looking vertical greenhouses on the very outskirts of the city. Each of the districts has like a slightly different colored stone or metal that the buildings are made out of. And each of them, it has like a very obvious like cast or caste of people that live there. The side of the city that you're entering on, let me just like roll to... Okay. So this is probably like the upper middle class district. There's a not a cobblestone street. It's smoother because they know not everyone here has a hover bike or a hover vehicle. So the streets are smooth enough that they can travel even if they have wheels that touch the ground. The lights of every city would usually be on and sparkling, but right now they're completely turned off. The streets that would usually have like probably many people out shopping, there are businesses with like beautiful windows in the whole street. So it's businesses on the bottom floor, and then like the higher skyscraper would have apartments and things, but all of those businesses are either shuttered or closed. Some of them, the windows are broken, like they've been looted. And there's not many people in the streets. You do know, of course, that they were instructed by the repeating newscast to stay inside and be ready to go to emergency shelters. But right now it seems like most people are doing what they've been told and staying inside. Gelpy, you would know that you're probably directly opposite the side of the city you would need to be in to get to where Racket lives. The side of the city that he's in it's strange because it's like a manufactured, like poorer part of the city, as though like the Cozer just believes that there is to be a like disparity of like caste and income that is integral to the optimal society, which is kind of dumb, but like that's what they believe. So they've actually built in like a poorer part of town, as it were. And that's probably, if this is built in a wheel, imagine like it's a perfect circle. That part of town is like directly ahead of you.
Real quick, Blue Jay, in the message that was happening, did they say if there was a curfew or anything like that?
It's not a curfew. You just been instructed to stay inside, probably because like at any moment another missile could launch or blah blah. Like they just don't want the streets filled with panicking civilians.
Okay, so it's not like a military, you must be inside.
No, they're just doing as they're told. Okay. Which is another thing that is pretty common in this society.
Mm-hmm.
Gelpy will kind of, as we like come into the city, Gelpy will turn to the group and say, I think I have someone here that can help us. But when we talk to him, you guys might get a few questions. I'll answer those questions at some point, but let's focus on getting to the Jorhild ship. Can we agree on that?
Okay.
I think.
What kind of questions are we talking about?
Well, my buddy Racket, he's a colorful sort.
Okay.
He's real nice, and he's always been real friendly, but some might not approve of his means of surviving here, and there are going to be some folk around him that might, be some questionable.
Gelpy,
Yeah?
does he know we're here?
Yeah. I sent him a message. Let him know we were on our way.
Does he know we're here with you?
Well, I said we, and he made a joke about it, so I assume so.
Okay.
Okay, he sounds like a nice guy.
He's real nice.
He tells jokes. You said he is friendly. Amara, you can trust him. You think?
If you say so.
I fixed him up real good one day, and he's been real nice to me ever since.
He's a
He did
robot.
ask that I don't really mention it to people, but he's been real nice to me.
You fix him like a robot?
No, he's human.
How is he going to help us?
Well, so my thinking is that, the Jorhilds, they probably are quite well protecting their ships, their bases and stuff. And if we're going to get on a ship, we're going to need someone that knows how to get around rules and around people that are probably good at enforcing them or good at, being military-ish. And I think that his specialties, well, I'll just tell you, he's a smuggler, and if he can smuggle goods, I kind of assumed he could smuggle people and get us to the ship, possibly.
You think he can get us in any trouble?
I mean, the planet it's
Lawless.
what's the word? Flawless, yes, that too. Quarantined, so I don't really know if there's much more trouble we could get in with them.
Great, where is he?
Let's do it.
Well, we're gonna have to go through the city. He's about on the other side, so I would say let's try and avoid drawing any attention to ourselves while we're walking through here.
We're not walking, we have the forklift.
Oh, well, I mean, that's probably gonna draw attention.
I think Cupid at this point kind of just like stops walking, and you hear like the metal scraping behind her, like, like, oh,
It's on the brakes.
yeah.
Okay, so what do we do?
Well, by any chance, do any of you know where is it actually an embassy, Blue Jay? Like, would they know it as an embassy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the Jorhild embassy, and it's in Tyvern. There's not another one on the planet.
Have any of you been here? Do you know where the embassy might be?
I've never been here before. This is my first time.
Well, all the Khazardus towns are real nice, and it's a great place to be. But, I think, did that map have? Would it show us where it is?
I mean, you know where it is. You've been there before.
I do. Okay.
Yeah. You ran into Racket before, and you know where his like base of operations is. So, like I said, it's just like pretty much straight on the opposite side of town. So you just have to like walk through the city center and.
Oh, okay.
Get there.
No, I meant that if I would know where the embassy is.
The embassy is likely to be there's one of the 6 districts is like a governmental or administrative buildings, and it's in one of those. It's probably because I said that the Jorhild military was in the street outside of where Racket was. It's probably like the next neighborhood over in terms of like the slices of a pie, right?
Yes.
May I ask, like, as I think Cupid would ask Gelpy, if he's a smuggler. Why are we going to the embassy? Does he work for the Jorhildians? I am not.
Well, no, we'll have to go see him first, but I'm assuming if we want to ship out of here, that ship is going to be at the embassy. Because that message that was replaying on the compads was saying that Jorhilds need to get and report back to their stations to get evacuated before the planet is quarantined.
Mm-hmm.
Unless Blue Jay, there's like an airstrip or airport, I'm assuming.
The embassy is what you would know where it is, because of the amount of military in the streets. It's likely that there's another base, but it's probably not like a public one. So you know where the embassy is just because like you've been to this city and they're all organized in the same way, and there's one particular embassy per city that they kind of like keep them separated. So you just know where it is because you've been here before. But as far as an active military base, it would probably be secret.
Okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think Racket might be able to help us out. I assume he's probably dealt with understanding the different military forces here, or just at least run into one or two of them. So I think we should talk to him first, and he might be able to help us.
A good idea.
Okay.
I don't see any other option.
All right, so if that's agreed upon by everybody, then I assume Gelpy, you'd probably be taking the lead here because you know where you're going. And as you lead the group and the forklift down the street, you see that Gaius is looking a bit more like jumpy, but he's still like he's not doing much of anything. Like he probably hasn't been making much conversation, and all of you are very tired now, being that it's been like a 12-hour walk. Which is like exhausting, and you all probably have blisters and stuff. But you make it the final stretch. And as you pass through the city center, you notice the slightly different colors of like metal and stone that line the streets, the slightly different texture of the broad avenues that go in these different directions in this like pie-shaped area. You notice that all of the city's lights at the lowest level where shops are all off, but there are some blinking on and off in the skyscrapers above. Probably the reflections of like a television turned on, the newscaster speaking that you've seen before, just the repeated face of Lee Soo-young in windows. And as you pull up with your forklift to what would be the Broad Avenue entrance to the neighborhood that you know that Racket lives in, you see that they've kind of piled some sort of debris or furniture in the street to make up a blockage, as it were. Kind of like this neighborhood is basically declared that, you know, no one comes in without our say-so. And there is a break in one part of this manufactured blockade, I guess. And there are two young men standing there wearing probably they have like very high-waisted pants with like the top of the waist is like cinched with a belt, and the pants are actually larger, so there's a little bit of like a ruffle at the top, where the larger pants have been cinched very small at the waist, and the actual like pants go a little wide at the bottom, so it gives them like a wider leg. Both of them are wearing just neutral colored clothing, basically what looks like the regular tank tops with the thick straps, and then one of them has like a hat, a ball cap kind of sideways on his head, and the other one is both of them are holding weapons. One of them is leaning against, the one with the hat is leaning against this makeshift blockade. And as you approach, the one who's not leaning holds up his weapon towards you and says, "Stop." And Gaius immediately holds up his weapon towards the man.
Guys, hold on. And I'm gonna try and calm Gaius down to lower his weapon. Well, 1 second, gentlemen. Guys, it's okay.
You said you know these people.
Well, I mean, I know Racket.
Well,
I don't
then,
really know these guys, but I know Racket is here, and
Well, then stop. Tell them to stop aiming at us. We're invited or whatever.
okay, just put down the gun, and I'll talk to them.
He slightly lowers it, but doesn't put it completely away.
Okay, cowboy, cool it. And then I'm gonna walk up to the other two guys and say, and I'm just gonna try and put on my like most.
At a certain distance, they instruct you, like, within, like, they keep you within, like, you can't just, like, go up and stab them distance. And one of them's like, no one enters without, and he looks over to the other guy. Permission. Yeah.
Is a Racket home? We're here to see him. Nothing to worry about. This is just our ride. Don't worry. He's a little happy to have his pistol. It's fine. We're here to see Racket.
What's your name?
I'm Gelpy.
Gelpy what?
Gelpy of the Wilts.
And the guy, like, he shrugs. He doesn't lower his gun, but he shrugs, and the other guy just kind of like slowly walks behind him back into the neighborhood. You see, if you look up some of the windows of the nearer skyscrapers and apartments, there definitely are people kind of like in sniper spots, as it were, up there, and they all look like similarly like casual, definitely not military. They're just, defending their turf. And it takes like a minute, and Gaius is again looking like super antsy. But then, like, coming around the corner with the scout, I guess it was, or guard that left to go give him the news, is Racket. And Gelpy, what does Racket look like?
Ooh, so Racket is he's kind of just a skinny, like lanky, very tall man.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like he's one of those people that is intimidating because he's so tall, but he's very skinny. Like he's not Uskar sized. He's not, doesn't have the big muscles.
Mm-hmm.
And he dresses in sort of like, it's meant to look fancy, but it probably is still as like neutral colored as it can be. But you can tell he's tried to like dress himself up a little bit and look like as boss-like as he can, or as kind of like,
he has like a loose-fitting futuristic suit jacket, and it's mostly just like a weird tan or khaki that doesn't match his pants, but in one of the pockets there's like a bright blue suit pocket, like a handkerchief or whatever.
Exactly. It looks like when you used to go to like I don't know if you did this, but like the thrift store to dress up for prom or something. That's
yeah.
He's got ready.
And he strolls up, and he's like almost as tall as the barricade. Honestly, he's a very stretched out kind of guy. And he like strolls up to you, Gelpy, and like immediately like leans over and gives you a massive hug, and was like, "Gelpy, now I told you she was gonna be coming. You guys don't have to act like you're, like official or whatever. We let our friends come in. Now wow, you got quite a few people with you here."
Yeah, I mean, I did say we. This is, and I'm going to point to Uskar, and I'm going to say, this is Uskar.
Hello, I am Uskar of the Weekif.
He's of the Weekif, but he's real strongif, and he's gotcha. And this is Cletus, and I'm going to point to Cletus there. This is Cubit, and she's real good at fixing things. And this is Amara, and she's gonna hopefully well, when we get to our plan, you'll find out what I'm needing some help with. But Amara's real great, and she's gonna help lead us out of here.
She is our leader.
And then I'll point to Gaius, and I'll say, that's Gaius. He's just
Gaius at this point has like put his gun away and is like arms crossed, looking like, I'm not happy to not be in charge of this situation.
He's fine. He'll get over it. And that's Savara. She's a healer here. So how you been? It looks like you really have upgraded a little bit in the couple days.
Well, I mean, I didn't tell you all my secrets, Gelpy. Please. Now, like, we're family, this neighborhood, and we saw what was going on and wanted to make sure that none of those, I told you there was military folks all about. I wanted to make sure that none of them came in on my turf. So we got this whole neighborhood protected, at least from below.
Have you had any run-ins with them yet?
I'm nothing aggressive. They're mostly just, getting out of here like rats. But I mean, my little bro, turns out, and he like looks over like behind him, like basically looking like that guy. Turns out he had a bit of a fling with the Jorhildian ambassador's daughter. And, she's holed up with us right now. I don't think she's supposed to be.
Wait, like against her will, or?
Oh, no.
Okay. At least
they're all supposed to leave, and she, kids, doesn't want to leave without her boyfriend. So she ran away, and we've been preparing in case they come in forced. I don't know. I don't want to get in a ton of trouble or anything, but the kids, I mean, he says he's in love with her, so what am I supposed to do?
Okay, have you tried saying that she is not here? If they ask.
I mean, I don't know how subtle you were when you were 16, but it was kind of obvious who she was seeing. They know she's
Give
here.
him a blank look.
Okay. Okay, but you could lie.
Yes, we tried lying.
Okay.
And he like shakes his head and rolls his eyes at you, Gelpy, like
Doing the exact same thing to Amara, like
they're real great. Trust me, they're some of the best I've ever met. They're real reliable.
all right, well let's go inside and like off the streets. They told us get off the streets. So, and you can tell me what exactly it is you all are doing here.
Yeah, can we just park the forklift out here with the berry?
Is that what you needed? A car?
No, we need a ship.
The ship.
You know that there's.
Does it have a bar in it?
We'll get there, Cletus. We'll get there.
You know that they're shooting down any ships that leave, right?
They're shooting all down but the Jorhildian ones.
And he sucks in a breath and he's like, come in and clean up. We need to talk about that. But you're welcome to stay with us. And basically it directs you to like come in past the barricade. And when you get in the street, like again, the streets are pretty much as you've seen them. There are a couple what would now be termed like vintage ground cars, so they're not hover vehicles, that are in the streets. And you, Cubit, would probably notice like there's been some care taken to keep these running and to transport them to this planet. Like they're really nice looking for being as old as they are, but for the most part the streets are like all of the cars are parked, like the streets are mostly bare. There are a couple of like younger men and women standing guard, like a space version of a folding table where they're playing some cards and just like kind of keeping quiet. And he leads you to the same apartment building that you would have known that he was kind of like holed up in before. There's a series of shops that have been turned from shops that have like shop fronts to basically like there is a window that shows some kind of wares, but the window itself has like a green screen background, so you can't really see into the shop. and he leads you inside one of them. And you've been in here before, Gelpy, but it's just like boxes and boxes and boxes, like all with different labels from different ships. And then he leads you to the back and like up the stairs, and it's a very like basic apartment above a shop sort of feel. The lights are very dim or off here, and the television, which is just a flat screen on the wall, is currently muted but playing the rerun of the emergency government broadcast. And there's a young woman wearing she's wearing a dress that has like a floral print on it, but it's cut in a very militaristic fashion. So the print is floral, but it has very boxy shoulders and like a pleated skirt and large pockets on the chest. She looks like he said like around 16, and she's like huddled up on the couch next to basically a younger version of Racket, who is like petting her head softly while his like long legs are stretched like a good 2 feet off the couch in front of him, and they're both just kind of like quiet while she's whispering to him. And then there's enough room for you all in here, but obviously it's fairly cramped. And you get into the apartment, and he kind of gestures for you to sit down at a table. And, says, make yourself at home, everybody. I mean, it's not much, but it's home.
So I quickly move to the closest chair because I've been standing with my cane for far too long.
We got, well, nobody's using the bed right now. We're all a bit amped up from everything. So, I mean, y'all look like pretty tired. I don't know, like it took you a while to get here from when you sent your message. Where were you?
Crashed. Underground. We were flying out to the planet, and then we got shot down. And our captain died a very sad death. And we miss her.
We were close to Sean.
Oh, Sean City.
Yeah, we were just outside the outskirts of it.
Wait, you were there?
Yeah, we were real close. We saw it.
What happened?
It crashed.
Oh, bad. A lot of bad fire, explosions.
Oh, man.
It's not good. I'll be honest with you.
I mean, they had like a ton of different information coming in before they put on this on repeat. You know, I kind of thought it might be some kind of weird weapons test myself.
What makes you think that?
Oh, I mean, you don't know me. Gelpy knows me. I just like conspiracies.
Oh, okay.
He's a
Cubit kind of like sinks back down, sits, and okay.
I mean, like, who knows what to think? It was the pictures were pretty crazy. So what was that you said, Gelpy, about you want to get a Jorhildian ship? And at the mention of the word Jorhild, the young woman on the couch like perks up a little and looks over but doesn't do anything.
Well, you see, we were planning to get off the planet.
Yeah, so is everybody. Hasn't worked so far.
Well, we're a determined sort. And I think we really want to figure out why this is happening. And I'm assuming no one else is really trying to go get themselves a Jorhild ship. So it might be our best bet. Because they're letting them out and they're not letting anyone else out.
From the couch, the young woman who's now like fully sitting up and no longer like slouching on her boyfriend's shoulder says, "You'd be wrong there. There were definitely people who tried to storm the embassy."
What happened to them?
What do you think happened?
Do you know what Jorhild wants?
They just want to leave. I don't know anything more than that. My dad doesn't tell me anything. I just know that I don't want to leave. not after, and she like turns to her boyfriend, like, not after I found Johnny here.
Well, if he's anything like
Wow.
Racket, I'm sure he's a good one.
I think it'd be a good opportunity to ask her more information.
Sure. Go ahead.
Yes.
Do you know why they're wanting everybody to leave here?
No, like I said, my dad doesn't tell me anything. He just said we had to go, and like as soon as he did, and that stuff happened with the people before, I knew I had to get out, and so I left and I came here. They weren't as careful about people leaving as they were about people coming in.
Do you know what they want? What are they trying? What is going on? Do you know anything? Can you tell us anything? Like,
She looks like she's about to cry, and she just says, I'm not one of them. I'm just here because my family's here.
It's okay.
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to. You have to understand. We've been through a lot of shit right now. And you're our only connection to what the hell's going on. So I'm sorry if I'm frustrating you.
I mean, if I knew anything, of course I'd use it to help Johnny and Racket. I don't.
Well, that's what we're trying to do, is just find out more. And
Yes.
do you know if they're guarding the embassy so well? Do you know if there's anywhere else maybe that they would be meeting at? Something a little less known, maybe?
Okay, wait. If they are at the embassy, then they are not at the hangars, and we can go steal the ship.
That's true. That is true, Usgar.
Yes, of course it is true.
You're smart,
Yes,
Usgar.
of
See?
course I am.
You are
I
smart.
flex really hard.
If they're all busy at the embassy, then we could go where the ships are and get a ship.
She looks toward Racket, and then Racket turns to you, and he's like, she already told us, and we did a little bit of, well, we tried looking with any kind of satellite feed we could access before all the networks went down. There is like a out of town sort of place that she said that her, and he looks over to her, that her dad had sometimes gone to for work, but she'd never been with. So she doesn't know where it is, and it wasn't showing up on satellites, so we don't know where it is either.
Okay, do you know what it looks like?
I assume it looks like whatever other military bases looks like. I haven't been to one myself.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
You think there would be a ship there?
Well, I mean, if they're getting out somewhere, and it's not through the elevator. And he looks up to the space elevator above the city, and you can see that, like, unlike the one above Sean's city, it's not collapsed, but there aren't any ships surrounding the elevator. And there's also probably like bits of the elevator itself that you can tell have been shot at or destroyed in some way along the like upper part, so that like you can't just like go up there. It's been disabled from the sky.
I had a character question. The situation that we're in right now is that we know there's a place.
Yes.
We know it might have a ship.
Mm-hmm.
We know that it's where they go.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way I can use my know-how and wisdom and charisma to get him to remember something?
So I will tell you straight out the gate that this 16-year-old girl does not have the keys to a military base. But I did set in front of you and will remind you that this 16-year-old girl is wanted by her family to come back. So like, she doesn't want to go, but she is absolutely a tool that you could use to maybe get more information, is what I'll give you.
That doesn't feel right.
I mean, neither did leaving a city burning, but the choices you have to make, right?
What do you think we should do, Amara?
Do you, and I direct my attention to the girl, the commander's daughter. It's the commander's daughter, right?
It's the ambassador's daughter. And like,
Okay.
She would at some point introduce herself. I'm dropping everything on the ground. Her name is, let me just pull this up. I have a sheet. Her name is, I'm just going to find a good name. Her name is Chandra Gupta. And she's the daughter of the ambassador.
Okay.
Who's just, Ambassador Gupta.
Do you say, like, are you still in contact with your father?
I mean,
Kids these days have phones. Do you?
I turned it off so that he didn't know where I was. It's got like tracking on it.
And Amara just kind of takes that in and starts kind of thinking about stuff.
Cubit, do you think you could maybe turn off the GPS on her compad?
We might be able to.
Because I'm
Not
thinking,
sure.
if we could disable that somehow, then maybe she could send a message to her father, maybe acting like she's going to come home.
Maybe set up a meeting or...
Yeah. What do you think about that, Amara?
Amara looks at Cubit. Do you think maybe we can reverse hack that GPS?
I mean, you know where he is. He's at actually, like, he's either at the embassy or at the secret base. So that's actually a good idea. Never mind. Forget what I said.
Is it, Amara, do you have hack or does Cubit have a hack? I'm sorry. This is out of...
I have Tinker and I think
You have Tinker.
Amara. Yeah.
Yeah, I have hack.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I keep mixing them up.
That's okay. I think Cubit will reiterate the point about so if we turn the phone on, there's a possibility that we could be found. I'm not sure we can deal with the Jorhildians, so that is a risk, but I don't see any other options right now of what else we could try if you can't remember.
Wait, but
else.
Why do you want to talk to my father?
We're trying to get off this planet, and that's our only way out. We could try contacting from another part of the city, so he doesn't know you're here with Racket and Johnny.
She looks over at Racket and she looks at Johnny and she says, if you're all gonna try and leave, then you have to take all of us with you. I'm not leaving without Johnny, and Johnny's not leaving without Racket, and Racket like interjects, and I'm not leaving without my men and my family.
Okay, yes,
Like,
we get in the ship so we can fit everybody. Ships are big.
Cletus chimes in real quick and like recognizes with what he's heard that the last thing we were told to get off the planet, there was no interjection as to what to do other than get off the planet. So do you guys think that they would be willing to give us a ship to get off the planet?
The Jorhildians?
They told us to leave. They told the
Jorhildians to leave. That was a secret message that you guys decoded. They told everyone else that they would shoot them out of the sky.
Oh, so we would not have an opportunity to leave?
No, they're making sure that nobody gets off the planet. The message you got saying like to evacuate, that was a secret Jorhildian message that was you decoded.
I thought it was something else.
No, it's fine. If you could not have said that.
That's confusion, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I get what you're trying to do, Gilpy, and I respect it, but if I'm helping you, I'm not just helping you, I'm helping us too. That's the deal. All right, I'll do my best, but we all go or none of us go.
Well, Racket's one of my good friends at this point, but guys, you all are kind of my Like, I came on your ship, and you're all kind of my family at this point.
Yes, we are a
If we
crew.
have any. Are you okay if we bring them along?
Amara
Yes.
quickly just says, "Yeah, that's fine."
Gaius like rolls his eyes really hard, but isn't saying anything.
Cubit nods and yes, I feel much better about that than leaving people behind.
Well,
All
if
right.
you'll help us. Sounds like we got a crew, and maybe we can find a ship.
Yes, and I can cook lizards, so we have lots of food.
And
we can-
Amara's gonna fly us out of here.
Yes, if we cannot find a ship, we can go out in the wasteland and start our own family and colony. Uskar knows how to work the field, so I can handle the farming. And we can set you two, and I'm going to point to the young ones, up in lovely marriage. And then you, and point to the girl, can have many husbands inside the colony. It'll be amazing. Yes.
Well, now that we have a bit of a plan of how we might proceed, let's let our crew get some much needed rest and say our goodbyes for this session. Thank you all so much. I really enjoyed it. Let's give a quick shout out and goodbye as to what you're doing for the rest of the week in between episodes and where people can find you. Starting with our favorite lizard cooker, Jay.
Hello.
Can you?
Yes, of course. I have been the idiot for you all this evening. Thanks so much for tuning into Tablestory. We all appreciate it very, very much. Just real quick, make sure to join our Discord. Go subscribe to our YouTube to catch the previous episode, because I know there were a lot of new people in the chat tonight. They were asking about the previous episode. We have character creation, and then we have our last week's episode. But if you guys want to catch me around the week, I play a lot of Path of Exile, and we have a lot of really, really nice people in our community that are always up for discussions. But please make sure to hang out here and follow everybody else.
Awesome, possum. So you'll find Jay playing Path of Exile. I know that Cletus also loves some Path of Exile. Cletus, where can people find you, and what are you doing this week?
I'm actually super addicted to 2 games right now. I've gotten back into building castles. Mark, I don't know how I found my way back to it, but I'm building massive castles, and I've also found an addiction for Graveyard Keeper.
Ooh.
Nice.
And oh my god, that game is so addicting. It's weird. It's a weird addiction. But you can find me at Cletus Buford, Twitter and Twitch.
Awesome. Starbuck, what are you going to be up to this week, and where can people find you tinkering away?
Tinkering away, usually here. But I play a lot of Siege here on Twitch. I'm streaming later in the evenings and early on Saturday, so you can find me tomorrow and on Saturday as well. You can find me on Twitch and on Twitter at Call Me Starbuck.
Awesome. Perfect. And Saji, thank you so much for coming up with that NPC and brainstorming that with me. It was super, super fun. Always good to have some collaboration on the GM level with players to kind of like figure out how to move forward. But where can people find you during this week? And do you have anything fun coming up?
So I do abstract, spacey, colorful illustrations here on Twitch. I stream very late at night when I cannot sleep. So you can find me occasionally at twitch.tv/Sagittari.
Awesome. And last but not least, our new and intrepid captain, Amara. Tell everyone where they can find you, Todd, and where if you've got anything cool coming up this week.
Yeah, you can find me here on Twitch, just twitch.tv/Toddreal. I am currently playing God of War. I am like a quarter of the way through God of War, so I'll be playing through that on Saturday if you want to check me out. And yeah, that's where I'll be.
Awesome. Well, I am your GM. I am BlueJay. You can find me at twitch.tv/BlueJay or on Twitter at BlueJay_712. When this series is over, you'll be able to find all of my notes and all of my secrets over on my Patreon. I will not spoil it before it's over, though, so don't worry about that. And like Jay said, you will be able to find both the previous episodes of this show and also the mini-series that we did in the same universe before in the Black over on Tablestory's YouTube. So if you want more of the Bystanders, but you can't wait till next week, there is episode 1 to watch again, and the 3 episodes of In the Black, which are in the same universe and might give you some idea of where we're going with this one. So thank you all so much for your time here. Make sure to join the Tablestory Discord and tell us all how you think we did, what your favorite moments were. We're all rip-roaring for feedback. It's always really good feeling.
Also, we got a really cool artwork that was done of me and Gelpy, and that was amazing. I'm not for sure who the name was on it, but it was Void Smoker. It was absolutely amazing. I loved it.
It was so great. So we're always down for some fan art. Thank you so much for doing that work. It looked absolutely beautiful. And for the rest of it, we'll see you next week, Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time, 7:30 Eastern. Have a lovely rest of your week. Good night, everybody.
Bye.